What is going on, DGBA fans? Brandon is back again with another power ranking video for season 16 of DGBA. This time we're covering the quick feet division. However, I am once again not alone. I am joined by a guest, and he can introduce himself.
Yo, what's going on, DGBA guys? My name's SlickPanther. It's good to be here. Thank you.
All right, and just so everyone's aware, these power rankings are, for one, they are strictly post-draft. I know after the draft, some of the quick feet coaches made some transactions, but we are judging the teams as drafted. Secondly, as always with power ranking videos, these videos contain opinions, and you should not take our opinions as a direct challenge to you as a person or you as a player. It is strictly just the way the teams got drafted. So, as always, any complaints, DM to Haz, because, you know, he's the one who deals with that.
Yeah.
But without further ado, Slick, would you like to introduce us to the coach in 24th place?
It's good. Yeah, so, okay, we're starting off in 24th with Rosie Bear, coach of the Ape Escape, the Stardust Crusaders.
What a great team name.
Great, yeah, loving that. And they've got Palafin, Zarud, Volcarona, Noivern, Hadarine, Gudra, Hisuian, Toxtricity, Lucario, Hippowdon, King Gambit, Passimian, and their Terra captains are Volcarona and Lucario. So immediately I'm looking, and I think Palafin as a first pick is okay. I think it was a bit. I don't know. I think I'm not the biggest fan of it.
Keep in mind for the audience that this Palafin had a complex to not be allowed to Terra, which is why.
It wasn't allowed to Terra, so that was a big part of it. So I just feel like in general with this entire team, he picked like most of his mons like too early. Like I feel like he could have gotten just a lot more like stronger stuff and still gotten what he has. If that makes sense.
Yeah, I definitely
he's got around for Noivern, which I feel like he could have waited. He could have waited for the Hadarine. He could have waited for the Gudra, that kind of stuff.
So the only thing with the Palafin is that Rosie definitely could not have waited for that because there was no way it was making back to him. Obviously, if you wanted to use it, then you gotta take it now. And then I think the rest of the stuff, honestly, was probably just a result of like with such a limited format. Rosie just took the stuff that they wanted, like,
which is understandable, yeah.
Which is understandable, but like you said, it just leads to an overall team that's kind of underwhelming. I will say, at least Noivern is like a reliable like defogger for like for the Volcarona, and like Hadarine. I think we need to like take a step back at like and not think of Hadarine as it was in Gen 8 because honestly, it wasn't that good. Because not only is it hazard deterrent,
it's like one of the very few fairies.
Yeah, exactly. It's definitely one of the better fairies, and in a format where the steals are not nearly as good. So with like Terra Volcarona, it's just gonna like the Volk's gonna break the steals, and then Hadarine can still just like with dual stab, just kind of clean house.
Yeah, I think my biggest gripe with this team that I have to be honest with is the rock situation. Is he's got two rockers being Hippowdon, King Gambit. King Gambit's like never gonna want to run rocks realistically, and then Hippowdon is a good rocker, but that means you're gonna have to bring a Hippowdon like nearly every week, and that's gonna be tough to fit on a build every week, considering you have your top three. You're gonna want to bring a lot. You have Hadarine that's gonna be forced onto a build a lot as well. You've got Noivern, which is you're gonna want to bring. You've got your Terra Lucario. It's gonna be tough to have. He's gonna like struggle to fit reliable rocks on a build every week. He's got no spikes at all, which I think in this gen is not ideal because of how offensive it is in general. Like spikes are really crucial this gen.
Yeah, I can agree. The one thing I will say at minimum about Hippo is that like. With how offensive like this team is, and like I guess kind of the meta, the sand chip every turn might actually be relevant in order to put things in range for like the Lucario priority or the Palafin priority.
That's fair. Yeah, that's definitely fair.
But other than that, yeah, I like the overall consensus. I definitely agree is that like this team is very underwhelming. I
do think he made a few like interesting picks as well. Like I don't really know why Passimian is tier when you have like Lucario. That's just better.
Yeah,
And, like,
I think they made transactions. Let me see.
But yeah, like a spiker would be really, really nice on this team. I think like even something cheap.
Yeah,
instead of
that's
Passimian
what
would
they're
be
getting
ideal.
actually. They're dropping Passimian for Hisuian Quillfish.
Oh well, there you go. Yeah,
So that checks out.
that does check out. But yeah, I will say the one thing I do like is his Terra users. He definitely picked the right ones
Oh,
out of what he
absolutely.
has. Like Volcarona being able to quiver dance up, and like you can tailor it every week to turn it into a type that it can set up on whatever he wants, and it can be a big threat there. Obviously, Terra normal Lucario +2 E speed is a big threat as well.
Yeah, for sure.
So yeah, I think he definitely made the right choices there.
Yeah, I definitely agree. Overall, like, just like closing thoughts, I like the team. I like the individual pieces of this team. I think when meshed together, they just form a very underwhelming team, especially in a free 12-person draft.
Yeah, that's kind of what my logic was for most of these teams, because obviously, like, there's not I actually don't think there's a team that's in particularly like bad per se, but there's obviously like when you have a free draft, there's going to be teams that are like just way stronger than others. And I think this team is definitely going to be outclassed by a couple,
Yep.
or like by most.
Yep, I definitely agree. All right, so let us move on to our 23rd place coach, which we have as Jelly IO, coach of Jelly Jugs. We went from the greatest team name to the greatest logo. I think that logo is hilarious.
I think this might be top 2 logos.
Yeah.
Sure.
So Jelly's team consists of Iron Valiant, Heatran, Ursaluna, Volcarona, Dondozo, Dugtrio, Hisuian Braviary, Hisuian Arcanine, Umbreon, Hatterene, and Chestnut, with the Terra users being Ursaluna and Volcarona, and Iron Valiant has 2 complex bands of no Terra and no booster energy. So I actually just realized it's kind of funny that like our 2 bottom teams both have Terra Volcarona, despite that mon being a menace.
Say that first of all. It's like, bro, I would like to point out we do not think Terra Volcarona is bad. It is a good one.
It is an incredible. It's like one of the best Terra users in the game. It's just like the teams that surround them a little whatever. This one in particular, I think like the top. It's wild because the top 4 coaches, or the top 4 picks rather, are quite good. But then like Jelly actually didn't want to use the Iron Valiant. I don't know if you followed that situation, but like
I saw the trades.
He literally picked the Iron Valiant just so no one else could take it, and then just like offered trades to other people. It was wild. But anyways, as drafted, Valiant is probably like it's definitely I think the best new toy.
I'd say it's top 2. Yeah, for sure.
But then Volcarona, Terra Volcarona is a menace. Heatran I think is like a very kind of like
I think second pick was a bit early.
I actually disagree. Because like we said before, with like with the very limited steals and fairies, I think just grabbing like the things that you want, especially when they're like as good as Heatran, is probably like a good call. Because like obviously when you think about like Gen 8, like Heatran was usually around round 3 you took it, but like with how few mons rather are actually in this dex, I think getting something that's like as unique as Heatran, if you're trying to like draft a team with it in mind, you gotta take it early, because that's a big thing, which is also why I was surprised that he made the transactions, because again with Heatran being so unique, you kind of like it's one of those things that you always keep in mind with the picks you make. So like for reference, he traded away the Valiant and the Ursaluna. I don't even remember what Landorus, Incarnate, and Espathra.
He traded with High Crocs.
I was very surprised that like I was very surprised about the trades, considering you had a Heatran. Anyways, as far as the rest of the team goes, kinda whatever. Like Hatterene is probably
I think the same
fine
thing
again.
does apply.
Yeah. I think I agree, especially when like 2 of those things in Hisuian Braviary and Hisuian Arcanine, we realistically don't know what to expect with them. The and
after
Volcarona, Dondozo as well.
After Volcarona, it kind of like falls off in general. In terms of like raw, like reliable power kind of picks. Yeah. I do like the Dugtrio here, I will say, for trapping like poison types that can be annoying for Iron Valiant.
Yep, definitely.
So I like that a lot. I feel like I would have preferred it if it was Terra though over Ursaluna. I don't think Ursaluna needs Terra to be that good. If I'm honest, because there are like Dugtray, you can Terra and like change it. It's the same thing, same idea as Gothitelle. You can like change its type and trap whatever you need it to every week, which could have been really nice for like the Valiant and like I don't know.
Well, I mean, he's trading with
only
Valiant anyways.
Yeah, but I think we're going to see mostly he's going to use on the Volk Corona, which is definitely.
I am actually pretty sure he's words are hard apparently, but he's not keeping the Volk Terra once he makes the trades. He's gonna make both the things he's getting Terra, which is Lando Eye and Espathra. We'll get to my thoughts on Espathra when we get there, or if you've already seen this, or if you've already seen the Poison Point PRs. But yeah, I don't really have.
Yeah, make sure you check that out down below.
I don't know about down below, but anyways, I don't really have much to say other than like it's more of the same with Rosie Bear's team. So unless you have closing thoughts on this.
Nah, I think pretty much the same. Yeah, I just think like team it's fine. It has some threats that can do stuff. I just think compared to other teams, there's a lot of like empty holes that I think could have been patched a little bit better.
Yeah, I agree. All right, so would you like to introduce us to our 22nd ranked coach?
I certainly will. So we have Mr. Leaf, coach of the Quebec Quillfish, sorry. He's got Urshifu Single, Landers, Incarnate, Baxcalibur, Klefki, Talonflame, Blissey, Rillaboom, Toxapex, Espathra, Mousehold, Inteleon, and his Terra captions are Landers and Baxcalibur. So immediately, I think top 3, like, oh my god,
yeah, you're not
crazy,
getting walls to stop that.
No.
You basically have to play offense against Leaf every single week.
Pretty much, yeah. I think Urshifu was a good first pick for sure. Like, obviously having the new toy in Swords Dance is pretty cool. I don't think it pushes it over the edge necessarily, just because of how fast a lot of the new stuff is. It's kind of forced into a scarf roll more than it likes.
We had this conversation in council that like Swords Dance is cool to have, but realistically, it doesn't solve the problems that Urshifu had, and like it doesn't really change the counterplay to it.
Like if you gave it Swords Dance in Sword and Shield, I think that mon would have been banned instantly. Like it's just with the meta shifts, like it's. I think for now it's fine. You know, we could turn around in a year's time and be like, "Oh my god, why?"
That's the other thing. All these fucking power rankings are just gonna age like cheese, probably.
I know, yeah.
Age like milk is the better comparison. But anyways,
yeah.
I will say I love Klefki on this team, both being able to support spikes, but also with the dual screens being able to support the setup with Urshifu and Lando and Bax, or even just like T-waving the fast stuff that would have outsped them in the first place. Like Klefki, I get that was a long-winded way of saying that Klefki is by far the best steel type for offense teams.
Yeah, 100%. Absolutely agree. Yeah, because it gives you so much room to play with, and it gives you so much like.
As far as the rest of the team goes, because I mean we're still at number 22. It's just like so bleh. It's the same problem as what we just talked about with Jelly and Rosie Bear, but like the top 3 or I guess 4 are just like higher quality. Like I think Talonflame is gonna be fine. Because like it's a good anti-offense mon because of priority Gale Wings, but then like Blissey Toxapex in this meta is probably not very good. Rillaboom got a whole lot worse now that it lost Grassy Glide, and Mousehold and Espathra are just like 2 mons that are not gonna age well. They're gonna be good at the start, but once people figure out how to play around them, they'll like be able to cheese a win or two, but like once people figure out how to play around them, they're like just gonna do essentially nothing. If you want my honest opinions. And then like,
I do agree. I agree with you on the Toxapex Blissey, especially on this team. Like you have your first 3 picks being like massive wall breakers. I feel like he had the right idea with Talonflame and like even Rillaboom to an extent, where you just like U-turn and like get your breakers in. I feel like Blissey and Sock Specs kind of like kill momentum a little bit. Obviously, like they're good blanket switch-ins and like checks to whatever like he might lose to, because his team is quite slow. I will say that his team is a bit on the slower side, and he doesn't have as much priority besides like Urshifu, Sucker Punch, and like Tailwing's Talent or Galewing's Talent. Sorry.
I think Excalibur gets Ice Shard, doesn't it?
Oh, it does. It does. Yeah, you're right. So I think like it's a bit of an odd team. I don't really know where he was going with it. Like it's breaker spam. Like the top 4 picks I think are so good, but I think again he could have done so much better with the later picks and supported them a lot better.
I think I agree with that. Especially with like Toxapex, especially with like Rillaboom and Toxapex getting so much worse this gen.
Yeah, I think to be fair, Toxapex in what was that, 8?
Yeah, it's 8,
7.
I'm still not sold.
Yeah,
but I guess
we'll see.
Leaf could prove me wrong. Yeah. All right, so let us move on to the coach in 21st place, which is JCaps. Unfortunately, JCaps, you did not get
JCaps. You didn't get last.
But yeah, that is true. You did not get last. So JCaps' team consists of Landorus Therian, Greninja, Enamorus, Annihilate, Garganacl, Urshifu Rapid, Volcanion, Cyclizar, Amoonguss, Orthworm, and Bisharp, with Terra captains being Landorus Therian and Annihilate. Would also like to point out that with the changes to Protean and Libero, this is Protean Greninja. Because I guess we do have a few Smogoons this time around. Protean and Libero had been banned for a long time, so before Greninja would only be Torrent only, but it would still be drafted a lot. Anyways.
Oh yeah, definitely.
So I think the first like 5 picks were really, really good for JCaps' team.
I'd argue 6. I think Urshifu Rapid at 6.
So Urshifu objectively is a good pick, but it did look very, very weird when you already had Annihilate and Greninja.
Yeah, that's fair.
So like the top 5 are very good. The only other thing I guess maybe is like, why didn't you Terra Garganacl? But and then the rest of the team is just like so weird. Like I can at least like I can at least understand the Cyclizar and Amoonguss, because like Amoonguss is just meant to be your pivot mon. Like it's essentially meant to be a Quillfish without being able to set up spikes or toxic spikes, if that makes sense.
Cyclizar is also his only removal, which
I mean Cyclizar is like probably fine. Like Cyclizar, I mean as your only removal, no. But like as a mon, it's fine.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. I mean, it does get like knockoff U-turn. It's got good like utility stuff.
Yes, which again is good on like the offense that he built with like the first 4 picks. But then like you had no Shed Tail Earthworm and then Bisharp for some reason. Like why Bisharp when you already have both a Steel and a Dark? I don't get it.
I'm not really sure on the Bisharp pick. Yeah.
And then
same with Volcanion. If Volcanion is like it's a bulkier water type, I suppose I can kind of understand
it's
it.
like I mean it's the only one that kept Scald, so you know, it's hard to break. Old habits die hard is basically what I'm trying to go with that.
I'm gonna disagree with you on the Garganacl like Terra thing, just because I probably would have Terra'd Lando and Annihilate as well. Like Lando as a Scarfer with like Terra Flying can honestly rinse through teams.
I mean, no, like Terra Lando is gonna be fucking cracked. I can't deny that. It's more like maybe I'm just misunderstanding about what is so good with Terra Annihilate. I assume it's one of the mons that just Terras into its own type to boost power up, or like to like boost.
So what it can do,
ability.
like a lot of the standard, or what I've seen so far, is like people turning into water type and running like the mono bulk up Rage Fist set. Because like it's so bulky as it is, and if you turn it into like a water type and like your opponent doesn't have good ways to break waters, it can like honestly just sit in front of a team and like 1v1 it, like 1v6 it the entire time.
Interesting.
With bulk, with rage, or just rest
so
off
he
rage
basically drafted Urshifu Rapid when he already had an Urshifu Rapid.
Yeah, pretty much. Yeah. Right. I mean, yeah, I feel like he kind of just picked Urshifu Rapid for the sake of it was there. It was probably the best mon there, although it doesn't fit his team. But
yeah, like not at all.
I can respect getting him on because it's just good. Like I can respect that.
I respect it a little less. But yeah, like this team just looks weird. Is like basically what it comes down to. Like he actually has like really good rockers, right? Like Lando,
Yeah.
Garganical or Garganacle, whatever, or Orthworm, and then there's a Bisharp there, I guess. And then with spikes on Gren and Orthworm is like, oh wait, Annihilate gets rocks too, doesn't it?
Annihilate does get rocks, yeah.
Okay, then I'm confused about the Orthworm as well.
Yeah. Greninja does get toxic spikes as well, which is
Yeah,
solid.
yeah. Enamorus, I'm still waiting to see actual games with before I make any judgment on it. Because, like, at this point...
Ren 3 is a right place where you can't really go wrong.
I mean, that is fair. That is fair.
It's a fairy type, it's got it's got strong stats, it's got repair, it's got coverage, like, it like, should be fine, I'd imagine. I haven't seen too much of it myself either, but I would imagine it's, like, decent.
Yeah, this team, it looks weird. Because like it's just kind of a bunch of jumbled up mons. I agree that like mono removal cycles are probably not great.
Oh, I don't think that's. I think that
as
needs
a,
to be
like
changed.
I think like literally if Bisharp just like
okay.
if Bisharp was just like another remover, I think this team would have been a little higher.
Yeah, I agree. Yeah.
I don't really have much else to say about this team. If you
No, I think he's probably going to get carried by the top 4.
I mean, I feel like we can say that probably about a lot of teams.
I mean, yeah, that's always going to be the case, but I think there are stronger cores. Like, there are stronger first 2 cores than Lando Gren, I will say. But
I think maybe I don't know. The other thing is like it's hard to judge the new Protean without seeing it in action. Other than we obviously know it's worse.
Oh, actually, there was one thing I did want to point out, and that was his priority options are only Urshifu and Greninja, so also they're about water types. So I think because his team is so like naturally slow as well, he'll struggle big time against like set up dragons and set up like water types, like Azu, like Dragonite, that kind of stuff. I think he's gonna struggle big time, like revenge killing those things.
I can see that.
Even like something niche like Zarude, like Trailblaze SD Zarude looks really good into this team.
I can see that.
Yeah.
All right, let us move on. Slick, if you'd like to introduce the next coach.
Yeah, so we got Mogo and the Boston Clauncher Rolls. Interesting team name. And he's got Roaring Moon, Iron Hands, Iron Moth, Bronzong, Gyarados, Toedscruel, Hisuian, Zoroark, Sableye, Cleavor, Clodsire, and Arcanine. And his Terra captains are the Iron Moth and the Gyarados.
So would also like to mention again, Roaring Moon, same complex bands as Iron Valiant, so no Terra and no booster energy. Speaking of the Roaring Moon, I gotta be honest, I am not totally sold on that Pokemon, as our complexes are.
I think the complex make it a bit worse, yeah.
Yeah,
sure.
like if this was allowed booster energy, I'd get it. But without it, it's just like, I don't want to say it's Hydreigon at home, but like that's certainly what it feels like. Like it's like basically it just has like all the same issues it does, which is just like it just can't beat a fairy to save its life, or at least it has to get a prediction right. But then it comes like the usual mind games of like, do they pack the resist berry or whatever. All this to
I can see your logic, yeah, but I do also gotta respect like its stats are just so good. Like it's obviously crazy strong. It's got a great attack stat. It's very, very bulky, so you can kind of make it a bulkier set with Dragonlance and Roost, and then pack on like Crunch, Iron Head, and that can 1v1 a lot of teams. I've seen it in LD in particular. It's done really well. Even without Terra.
Restrictions? Oh, is it allowed booster energy there though?
Yeah, it is, yeah, but I've seen like a lot of people run like Lumberry and that kind of stuff anyway, but
interesting.
Yeah, like obviously a lot better. It's a lot better with boost energy, yeah. So that's a big thing. So.
But I will say, at least without the Terra option on Roaring Moon, the 2 Terra captains are definitely correct on this team. I as someone using Terra Iron Moth myself, that Mon's a menace. And Terra Gyarados, I can like. I will say, I think Terra Gyarados would have been better if this was
if
like
it wasn't round 5.
Sure, I was gonna say if this was a budgeted draft, but like I guess that's like the same sentiment. And then like obviously everyone can see that like I ranked Mogo actually last in my own personal power rankings, and like honestly I'm not convinced about the rest of the team. Like round 4 Bronzong, again, we've said about how of how like you need to like the steel types are so limited, you want to get the one that you want like early, right? So like in that sense, I get it, but then just like everything else is just like so bleh and passive and just like not at all what it seems like this metagame is going to be like
at all.
The Toadscrew, like not round 6. Literally,
No,
if it was any round after that, I would have been fine with it.
I think it's one of its only removers as well. It's that and like defog Cleavor, which like you're never gonna click, dude. Like you do not want to be clicking defog with that Pokemon.
Yeah, probably not.
I do like the Cleavor and the Zoroark picks though. He got them for like those are two very good Pokemon in my opinion. Like I'm a big Zoroark stan this generation as someone who's using it right now. It's very, very strong. Cleavor as well. I think Cleavor is a really good, like Stone Axe is a really good move. Like being able to, hit some like offensive rocks are pretty underrated in my opinion.
I mean,
we
say underrated, but like it's the only mon that gets it right now. So.
Oh like, yeah.
So,
I mean, just offensive rocks.
We'll have to see if anything else gets it, but I kind of the way Pokemon is designed, especially all these Gen 9 Pokemon, it seems like they're very much moving towards making unique moves for every single Pokemon, which probably means Cleavor is going to be the only thing that ever has that move.
Yeah.
Like as far as the rest of Pokemon go, like it's just again like it just seems so like underwhelming. It's like essentially like the first 3 kind of Terra Gyarados as well as like the big watch out threats. And then it's like the idea I think was meant to be just like your last 2 slots every week are just like kind of plug and play what you need, but like,
which I think is fair.
I don't know. I guess.
But even like, at that, I think his second pick, Iron Hands. I don't think that's a great round 2 pick. I think it's fine.
No, that was definitely a new toy syndrome thing where like he was just aware that like Iron Hands probably wasn't gonna make it back to him, so he just took it. If I had to take a random guess.
Potentially, yeah. I will give him some credit though with the Sableye in particular. I think Sableye being one of the few dark types that gets knockoff still is huge. Because obviously being able to knock off and force progress and like knocking boots and stuff.
I feel like it's a very similar mon to Klefki, I think. I think this mon is like good on offense teams. But like look at this team. I don't really think it's like meant to be that offense. Like not when you have Bronzong, Toedscool, Clodsire, Arcanine.
I just feel like this team in general has got a load of like mediocre offense. Mediocre offense.
The offense is like fine. That's not my issue. My issue is just like the filler that you put on the rest of the team being so underwhelming.
Yeah.
Like if you look at like if you assume that Mogo's not going to bring those top 3 in Gyarados, like your team consists of Bronzong, Toedscool, Sableye, Clodsire, and Arcanine, which is like essentially just like an NU stall team.
Yeah. I think Cleavor and Zoroark can probably come every week, if I'm honest. I might be biased.
I also haven't seen much of any of those. I'm more focused. I like literally did not pay attention to any of the Legends Arceus stuff.
Yeah, no.
So like these are like brand new to me too.
I've seen a couple of them in action, but I do think those ones are pretty sleeper, and he got like good steals for when he picked them.
That's fair.
But I do agree with you. I think like his stuff is fine, but again, it's the same case of there's just better cores. Like there's just stronger. I think he'll just get outclassed by.
Yeah, I agree. I definitely agree. Like I at least will give him that like a lot of his bases got covered. Like his rockers are actually pretty good. Like you can fit a Bronzong or Clodsire or Cleavor. Like you can fit one of those things onto a team every week. And like even Toedscool also gets spikes and toxic spikes, or at least he gets toxic spikes. I don't remember if it gets spikes.
It does get spikes.
Okay,
yeah.
So like if you need that, you can also bring it.
The one thing I'm a bit concerned of now, I'm not sure if it works like this, but obviously its ability, like status moves, are always going second. Does that count for spikes? Because I know Spore always goes second, but I'm not sure if spikes.
I would assume so, since it's a status category move. But what that does do is let it lets it spike in front of Magic Bounce mons, because that's the other part of the ability. It ignores the opponent's ability. Yes.
Oh, okay. Interesting.
So like
All right.
I think basically what ended up happening was that like Toadscruel got taken, like he took the Toadscruel with all of that in mind and thought like, you know, I have a spinner, check the box off, and then not think about getting any more removal after that, other than I guess Cleavor was there. But like trying to fit. I mean, you could probably fit Cleavor every week.
Yeah, you could, yeah, I'd say you can. Honestly, it's a really good one.
All right, let us move on to number 19, which we have JP, coach of the SL Benfinions. JP has drafted Chiyu, Spectrier, Hisuian Gudra, Corviknight, Grimmsnarl, Blissey, Hoopa Unbound, Toxapex, Gyarados, Breloom, and base form Rotom, with the Terra users being Chiyu and Hoopa Unbound. Spectrier was complex to no Terra. So, I said this before when I was doing Power Rankings with Spies. Was allowing Terra Chiyu a mistake? More than likely. But that it was just the nature of how we ended up doing stuff in Council, because we were also focused on what was actually popular in OU at the time. And, you know, I mean, I could just go on a separate rant about what Chiyu is doing now. But anyways, the point is, Chiyu is very, very, very strong. And like,
I think his first two picks are crazy good.
Yes, Spectrier
is insane.
Yeah, now that it actually has coverage to hit Darks, and Draining Kiss being the coverage at that.
Draining Kiss is huge.
Yeah, that's gonna be fucking crazy. Like that's like the anti-offense mon if there ever was one. My problem is like everything else other than the Grimmsnarl, but like then
Grimmsnarl was fine. I think the Corviknight even was fine as well.
I guess Corviknight's a pivot mon. Okay, I can get that.
But oh yeah, there's no ground type. Shout out to me.
Yeah, shout out. Yeah, I actually also did not realize that when I ranked these. But like it's like literally the same thing. Like who was it? Leaf that had the Toxapex Blissey. It's just like that core is so weird this gen.
Yeah.
And I think
in general, like after the Blissey, it's just 5 months that I'm just like
I think Hoopa Unbound, where he got it, was pretty crazy value.
It was fine, yeah. As a dark, it's like it's solid.
The only problem with the Hoopa is that it's his third dark. But like,
it is. Yeah.
But like,
I mean, I think that's okay. Like dark spam is pretty solid, like as offensive.
I guess. The only thing I'm not a fan of with the Terra Hoopa is that it like essentially acts the same as the Terra Chiyu. Whereas, like, the Terra Gyarados is, like, different, right? It's meant for cleaning, and Chiyu's, like, obviously meant for breaking.
Yeah.
Because, like, because without Terra, Gyarados feels kind of whatever, if I'm being totally honest.
My biggest concern with this team is the hazards. He's got only Rocker Blissey. He's got no spikes at all.
And you have like Toxic spikes, Toxapex. Apparently, I can't speak today. And isn't Corviknight's the only remover, right? I'm not crazy about that. Yeah. I mean, like Corviknight's probably a
reliable defogger, but yeah, it's only a remover. I think with the first two, you want spikes. Like you just want spikes.
Yeah, you definitely want to wear down opposing Pokemon in order for Chiyu to break and Spectrier to clean properly.
Clean that game.
I think Hisuian and Gudra was way too early. I get that I've been like kind of. I feel I know I said I was waiting for things that I don't really have like any data for, but like this just like Hisuian and Gudra is basically just Gudra with a steel typing, and Gudra is pretty whatever.
Yeah, I don't really know.
I mean, especially when you were gonna get Corviknight the round after, but like I guess you draft Gudra as a dragon type, not a steel type. So
yeah,
I don't know. This team.
I'm not a fan. I'm not a fan of the Gyarados pick here. If he didn't Terra it, because I just think it's pretty underwhelming as well. I'm just saying like mid tier, like low tier offense in general is just like pretty mid.
Well, especially when like again, this is free draft, 12-person drafts. So like the teams are going to be much higher quality. Like at least in the 16
these teams should have been
at least in the 16-person draft.
Mm-hmm.
Like there was like once you got into the later rounds, like the pickings were pretty slim, but like the excuses like slightly less so in quick feet. The only thing I will say is big ups to Breloom finally getting some love this gen. Gets close combat, gets loaded dice for like Technician Bullet Seed. I do think round 10 Breloom was good value, and
That's
I think it with Spectrier, since like Breloom gets Mach Punch too to like kind of beat the anti Spectrier mons. I think that's gonna be good, but like basically like a lot of the weird picks, basically like the entire right side of the draft plus Toxapex and Rotom is just like so whatever to me. And like Hoopa in a vacuum is good, but I think on this team is pretty redundant, which maybe redundancy is fine in such an offensive meta.
Yeah, I think it should be like okay. And then Axe is a psychic type as well, so like it's fine. It'll it'll do.
I mean, I guess when you have Toxapex resist fightings, yeah, I can see that. I don't have anything else really to say about JP's team. If you would like to move on.
No, I think we're pretty good there. We can move on to Mr. Hycrox and the Yosemite Young Bisharps. Yosemite. My apologies. And he's got the best logo in the league. I would like to point out. But he's got
Jelly.io would like a conversation.
About that. Yeah, it's top 2. They're both top 2. It's questionable, but yeah, he's got Landorus, he's got Excalibur, Garganical, Sneasler, Talonflame, Tinkaton, Vaporeon, Espatra, Overquill, Serena, and Belly Bolt. So he's got Terra, Landorus, and Garganical. So immediately, again, first 2 strong, very very strong wall breakers. It's the same. Someone else has the same core, don't they? I think Leaf has.
Leaf has that plus Urshifu single.
yeah. So I think this is strong. He picked up Sneasler, which I think round 4, really good pick.
Yes, I agree with that.
Really strong. You got a fast, strong fighting type to pair with these 2, which I like. I think it's a fast team. It's a fast enough team. You've obviously Sneasler, Talonflame to be able to revenge like the fast dark types that are around. Spikes. He's got Overquill. He's got a couple of solid rockers. I think not terraing the Excalibur might be a bit of a mistake, if I'm honest.
I think it just depended on what Hycrox wanted for the second Terramon.
Yeah.
There is also something to be said where like the Hycrox and Jelly had the already during the draft had developed their trade deal, right? And like the rules state that if you trade away a Terra Captain, then you can reassign it free of charge. So I think that's the idea there. So I guess since Hycrox is getting Valiant and Ursaluna, like he's probably gonna assign the Terra to Baxcalibur after that.
Baxcalibur anyway, yeah.
I will say I think round 6 Tinkaton is certainly something. Like I get that it's a unique typing and like steel types for slim picking, but like Tinkaton is just not very good. Espathra, same spiel as I had before. I think it's very cheesy. Like it might get you a win, but I don't expect it to be. I don't expect that Pokemon to age well. Is all I'll say. Overquill, it's just like slightly better.
I think it's one of those things where it's like it's good for what it does. It spikes, it's T-spikes. That's obviously good. It's not something you want to bring every week, though. I don't think.
No, I mean like you don't want to bring spikes every single week with this team. Like I mean, it has modes where it wants it, but like you also, if you just want hazards, like Garganackle can come every week and like click rocks. I don't know if Ursaluna, because Ursaluna is the other Pokemon that Hycrox is getting, and I don't remember if that sets hazards.
I don't think it does. No.
Serena, while I get that like the spinning options are limited, I'm pretty low on Serena after it lost Aromatherapy and Knockoff. Because like otherwise that it was like a very good roll compression mon. Like as much as I want it to be good, I don't think Belly Bolt is that good.
No, he's just there. He's chilling. I don't think he'll see.
Yeah, it really is just chilling. Like
he'll see the light
literally, like Serena and Belly Bolt to kill. I guess the waters are pretty not as bulky or prevalent this gen. which maybe that's just the boomer in me seeing like the two like subpar grass and electrics and being like, oh, waters are going to be an issue, when like that might not even need to be a problem that's addressed this generation. That's just like something we need to see as time goes on, I guess. And then like also, oh, you know what's weird? I just realized, oh no, Hycrox I think is trading away the Sneasler as well, I think.
Well, I was actually about to say the one thing about the Sneasler on this team is I feel like it was going to be forced into Scarf a lot because of how, just because of his priority options are Baxcalibur with Ice Shard, and then you've got, as I said, Talonflame with Gillian, so it's like not reliable.
He is trading away the Sneasler because he's getting the Iron Valiant, right? Yeah, he's trading away Sneasler to HGC for the Hisuian Zoroark, which is Hisuian Zoroark with Iron Valiant is going to be crazy. I will say that.
That's a core I have in LG at the minute, and it's very, very strong. Like those two are together are really, really, really good.
Yeah. But yeah, it's like kind of the same that I had, like the same thoughts that I had about like a lot of the previous teams, where like I like the top picks and they're objectively strong, but it's just the rest of the team is just kind of whatever. I guess the only other thing is like I think Vape is good wish support for Baxcalibur and Overquill.
Yeah, for sure. And Garganical as well.
Oh, true. Well, Garganical gets recover, so this is not as big of a deal. But yeah, I don't really have much else to say about.
No, I think we're good to move on here.
So we'll move on to our 17th ranked coach, which is Raisai, coach of the American City Skill Issues. And Raisai has drafted Regieleki, Garchomp, Greninja, Slowking, Klefki, Brambleghast, Galar Zapdos, King Gambit, Armor Rouge, Florges, and Amoonguss, with Terra captains being Regieleki and King Gambit. Why in the world didn't Raisai Terra the Garchomp? It's like one of the ultimate Terra Pokemon that's just like so flexible. Like you can use Terra. Like, okay, obviously Terra Regieleki is correct. It's the King Gambit that like is questionable to me. But like Terra Garchomp is just so good. Like I don't understand when you had the opportunity to have two incredibly top tier threats and both beat Terra. Why didn't Raisai take it?
Yeah, I suppose. Actually, no, that doesn't even. I was gonna say like you can argue he wanted to keep it off Garchomp to like make it so he wants to bring Terra Regieleki more often. But then again, that's not even an argument because like having the option to bring Terra Garchomp would have been just better anyway. But yeah, I don't know. I like the first 5. I think Screens is okay for Garchomp. Not as good as it used to be because it lost Scale Shot, but it's fine for sure.
I mean, screens in general are just good.
Yeah. He's got 3 Spikers in Chomp, Greninja, and Klefki. Then he just has a Brambleghast. I'm just like, why? Why did you pick this thing?
Round 6. I think Brambleghast is like fine as a Pokemon if it was just later. Like I'm not really sold on why it's round 6. I will say,
it's his one of 2 removal options. So
yeah, I mean. The one thing, I said this about Killer Aski's team in the Poison Point power rankings, but like I feel like Brambleghast and like on this team as well, Armor Rouge are going to be 2 Pokemon that we just have to see games play out before we can actually make any real discussion points about it, because like we just haven't seen really how they perform, even in OU. Like draft aside, like a lot of the top tier threats we've at least seen OU games with them so far, so we have a like rough idea of how games with them play out, but like these 2 we have actual nothing to go off of yet. So like I feel like we're gonna need to actually see games before we can judge how good or bad a round 6 Brambleghast or a round 9 Armor Rouge is. But as far as the rest of it goes, I definitely like I literally just thought about the spike stacking with a Galar Zapdos is good, not thinking about the fact that fucking everything lost defog.
Yeah.
Like I think Galar Zapdos is still,
Galar Zapdos like round 7 is a fine pick.
Yeah,
anyway.
it's probably still fine. But like it just it's just kind of funny. But, it's just like you forget the small things sometimes.
Yeah, that's true. I think I don't know how to feel about the Amoonguss. I think it's like it's got the regen core and sloping Amoonguss. That's good as two pivot options between the two. I think it can be a little bit of a momentum sap in the fact that like you can set up on Amoonguss pretty easily. Like you can sub up on it and like take advantage.
I guess like it's better for special setup mons because like at least for physical ones, Amoonguss can foul play.
That is true.
But
like, true. Yep.
I can definitely get the sentiment on like special setup mons. But I don't know, maybe I don't know. I think it's gonna come down to how he plays it, or like calls when Raisai feels like someone's gonna try to abuse the fact, because you could just go into like Greninja and taunt it, or like even like Klefki is also kind of an anti-setup mon, even though like sub kind of disrupts what Klefki wants to do. I think as long as Raisai plays carefully, the Amoonguss shouldn't be that big of a deal, like in terms of sucking momentum.
It's just something to keep in mind for sure. Other than that, I don't know. Florges is terrible.
Florges isn't that bad.
He won't bring it.
No, Florges is fine. People give that mon hate for no reason, and it's actually just a fine Pokemon.
I don't know. I'm not a fan, but we'll see.
It's obviously worse since it lost Heal Bell, but Florges is good. At least I think. Yeah. I don't really have much else to say other than reiterating, why didn't you Terra the Garchomp?
Yeah, I think that was a big mistake.
I guess also, why King Gambit in general? Like, you already had your Steel and Klefki, and you have a Dark and Greninja. I don't get... What? Which makes the not Terra Garchomp even more weird.
Yeah, we'll see how it works out. He could be a god and just get like 20 kills with it, but...
I mean, maybe.
I don't know.
Alright, anyways.
But we can...
Yeah,
we can move on to Mr. HGC and his Tropical 2 cannons. He's got Iron Bundle, Meowscarada, Iron Shreds, Rotom Heat, Hisuian Zoroark, Dragalge, Slitherwing, Enamorous Therian, the Dunsparce, Oricorio, and Iron Thorns. And his Terra Captains are the Dunsparce and Oricorio. Which, yeah.
So, what was it? He's making some trades after, which might make a little more sense. Trading away. So this Hisuian Zoroark is being traded away for the Sneasler on Hycrox's team, and then he's dropping the Slitherwing for Mesprit, and the Oricorio is becoming an Iron Jugulus. So I'm assuming the Terra is going to go on the Iron Jugulus, because if I'm being honest, like there isn't really a ton of good Terra. I guess maybe the Enamorous could have been a Terra captain. That's probably like a decent mon to Terra.
Yeah, because obviously Bundle's banned with a
right. Bundle isn't allowed to Terra, but it is allowed to booster energy, which I still think is a mistake. But you know,
we'll see.
We're a democracy and all that.
I have it, so I'm not complaining. But yeah, we'll see.
This is like around the time where like a lot of the teams kind of, I don't want to say blend, but like obviously we have our rankings like very close together, but this is around the point where like, you know, not all the teams are objectively better than the others. We just kind of like personally like the teams above it better, if that makes sense.
Yeah,
because like if you look at a lot of the tools on this team, other than maybe the Terra captains, like there's not really a lot to complain about here. I don't think. Like Treads is like the ultimate roll compression mon this gen. Meowscarada and Iron Bundle are very good offense tools.
And he got some really good value picks in Zoroark, Slitherwing, and Enamorous. But when he got them,
I definitely
really
agree with that. Even though the Zoroark's going away, I will say it's weird that like. He's trading away the Zoroark for the Sneasler. When like he already has like two. He already has like two. Well, I mean he's dropping Slithering, but more to the point, like he already has two like really fast mons with Bundle and Meowscarada. I'm not really sure he needed a third.
Yeah, I mean it can't hurt, I suppose, but I get what you're saying. Yeah. Especially because the ground resist with Slithering is nice as well. Like you have Meowscarada, but it obviously
he's trading away the Slitherwing for a Mesprit, which is also a ground resist since Zygarde doesn't exist this gen. It's like there's at least something. And like actually, and Mesprit on this team is like just another like flexible rocker to pair with treads. So like
which helps.
Which is like incredibly helpful. And then like the Dunsparce is like the Dunsparce and Iron Thorns, like, you know, they learn Stealth Rock. I don't know how often you're gonna bring them, but like not basically what I'm trying to say is not forcing treads to run Stealth Rock every week is very, very good. Also, round 3 Iron Treads is kind of crazy, I think, especially when we saw a lot of divisions draft it late round 1. I think getting that round 3 is pretty crazy.
Yeah. I have to say I'm not huge on Rotom Heat in general. I just really don't know. Like, just losing Defog and Pain Split was just so big for it. But I don't know. I really don't know what it does. Like, obviously, you can dual screens, which I think is fine, but then he doesn't really have any setup to kind of abuse that. So, I don't
mean,
know.
Enamor is Calm Minds. It's like it's something. It's something at least. But then
Slithering can like bulk up. But
but he's also dropping the Slitherwing.
Yeah.
For at least another Calm Mind Mon. I will say, like, so obviously he's trading away the Oricorio and like reassigning.
I mean, I did realize. So I learned the other day that with Revelation Dance, it changes type with the Terra mechanic,
what?
Which I actually didn't. Yeah, I didn't know that.
Huh?
Apparently it does.
So it just has stronger. So it has stronger Terra Blast then, basically.
Yeah. Yeah,
interesting.
On whatever type it wants, which I actually think is pretty cool.
That is cool. It's weird. It's weird. It's also weird that it's like not explicitly stated anywhere.
No, but apparently that's how that works.
Interesting.
Which is funny, but
it's
funny.
Still not. I don't know how. Yeah, I was gonna say I don't know how good it is, but like.
Yeah. It's...
does Oricorio learn Defog? Because like otherwise it's just mono Iron Treads removal. Like
I don't think so.
Because like. We literally just talked about.
It does.
Oh, it does. Okay. Maybe that's good enough, even though he's dropping it. Because like we literally just talked about treads not being locked into bringing rocks every week, which is great for it. And then
he's definitely gonna bring spin
realizing it has to spin every week anyways.
Yeah. I think honestly, like. I think he can get away with it most weeks because it's a really good spin. It's probably like one of the best spinners.
I mean, sure. I definitely agree with that. I think this team's gonna make a lot more sense once we see like the final transactions. I think, I know you said you've been high on Hisuian Zoroark. If I'm being honest, I'm still not convinced, but I also haven't seen any games, so I guess I can wait for it.
I'm biased because I've been using it, but yeah, that's fair enough.
So like, I think this team. I think it's obvious that it's going to get better once he gets like the Sneasler, the Mesprit, and the Iron Jugulus. Assuming that he's gonna use the reassigned Terra to the Jugulus, I think would be pretty cool. The Dunsparce, I still don't get why it's Terra. Like I get why you drafted Dunsparce in general, but why is it Terra?
Yeah.
Like there's Meowscarada or even Dragalge right there. Like I want to see someone Terra their adaptability mon and just like actually break shit.
I was tempted to with mine, but then I had another adaptability mon that I chose instead. So
fair enough.
Yeah. To be fair, one thing I will point out with Iron Bundle is he's got a lot of stuff to switch into fighting types. Like Scarf fighting types are probably going to be what's coming to revenge the Iron Bundle, but he's got like Enamorous. You know, he had Slithering, he's got Dragalge, he's got Zoroark, he's got like so many things that kind of deter fighting type spam against him, which I do like a lot.
I can see that. Again, it's like this team is like fine. There's just like because there's so many teams, there's just teams we like ahead of it better. Like there's not much to say. It's not that this team is bad. Just we like other teams more.
Yeah, again, it's just like with 24 teams, it's tough to like.
Yeah, it's really, especially with the middle being as murky as it is. With that being said, let's move on to our number 15 coach, which we have Sub-Zero, coach of the Rochester Reuniclus. Sub-Zero has drafted Zamazenta Crowned, Dragonite, Cinderace, Donphan, Gothitelle, Hydreigon, Rillaboom, Hisuian Samurott, Clodsire, Hariyama, and Electros. With the Terra Captains being Dragonite and Gothitelle, Zamazenta has 2 complex bands as well. It was not allowed to Terra, and it is not allowed to use Iron Defense. However, this does mean it's allowed to use Body Press, which was like the one thing that people wanted it to have last gen. And if it wasn't allowed, and if that was the case last gen, it definitely would not have been allowed in Draft League. 100%.
Not at all. Not at all.
But I think it's just like one of those things we definitely have to test.
I think
out
it's
in
the
game.
same. I personally think it's the same as Urshifu, where it's with the meta shift. I think it's manageable, especially in Zamazenta's case because there's so many Scarfers running around now because of how offensive shit is.
Okay, so I know its ability, like the interactions change where it only triggers once per battle when you send it out. But also, didn't it get a defense nerf as well?
Yeah, its stats got like kind of lowered as well.
I think it lost 10 in both stats. I think so. Like at that point, it's just like a thing where like it was allowed at some point last gen. It felt right to at least test it this gen.
I personally think it'll be fine. I don't think it'll be too. I don't think.
I think it'll be powerful. I was in the camp last gen of it being too strong. But I would still like to see games with it played this gen before I make a real statement on it. Past that, there's a couple things I'd like to point out. I think the 2 Terra users that sub chose were fucking crazy good.
Crazy,
like Terra Dragonite just like being both insane offensively and defensively is good. And you already touched on it with like the Doug Trio earlier, but like Terra Gothitelle is so scary. Because you literally can trap anything you want. Like one of the main issues with the trapping Pokemon last gen was like it was kind of telegraphed what you were trying to trap, and like you really only picked them up on your team if your team struggled with a very specific thing. But now with Gothitelle being able to change into whatever typing it wants, it can literally trap anything on the opposing team, which is crazy. There's like, I didn't really think about it until just now. There might be like a real case to like in the future. We have to see games play out, but there might be a real case in the future to complex ban no Terra on Gothitelle just for that. Because I think that's a much better complex ban than saying no Shadow Tag. I think.
Oh yeah, because that one sucks.
Yeah, I mean, obviously. So Clodsire is only weird on this team because you already had Donphan. With that being said, round 9 is definitely the proper round to take Clodsire.
I think compared to Donphan, they both do different things. Like Clodsire isn't having unaware is huge. Being able to have your stack is big.
The way I see it is just that like the ground types with water immunities have always been like very context dependent, as in like they're always good. They're like anti-meta picks is the best way to put it, which really only works in like VGC and ladder. It doesn't really work as well in draft.
I will say Clodsire is definitely one of the best Iron Valiant checks in the game for sure. So
I keep thinking I look at Iron Valiant and think it's psychic type for some reason when it definitely isn't.
It's very quitting, like I get Psyshock 2-shots it, but you have to, you have to you do force it to run Psyshock, so you kind of know what it's going to do every week.
Right. Like the hazard game is very good with this team. Like Donphan, Clodsire, Samurott can spike with the new move. Hydra gets rocks for some reason.
Hydra can rocks.
I mean, it lost Roost. I still think Hydra's net worse because like it losing Roost means like it's very difficult to justify running fat sets on it. But like I guess
he got it around 6, which is very good.
I guess I was always pretty low on Hydra. I always thought it was more like a mon you took out of necessity as opposed to a mon you took because you wanted it. But I guess that's just me. The Rillaboom on this team at least makes a little more sense considering it like kind of makes sense because like it's good for Zamazenta and Clodsire because Clodsire. Clodsire does run Earthquake, right? I'm not crazy. Yeah. Like it's not special. It's physical.
It can do either, but it prefers Earthquake.
Okay, that's fair. I mean, it stops opposing Earthquakes against it. But it is a little weird with Donphan. But Donphan is, I mean, I don't know how often.
Donphan's gonna rock. It's gonna spin and it's gonna pick knockoff.
I guess.
Yeah.
Yeah, like I don't really have a lot of bad things to say about Sub's team. It's just again,
I feel like
there are teams that
I
look
feel like
better.
Terra Dragonite can just kind of win games whenever it wants. I think, in my opinion, Dragonite is probably the best Terra user we have so far.
That's interesting.
I think it's really
I
fucking
think
good.
I
To be
mean
honest.
I guess it Ruse. I was gonna say I think it's Garchomp, but like I guess I can see the argument for Dragonite over Garchomp.
Just being able to turn it into whatever type you want with multi-scale as well, and just set up
Oh,
Dragonite.
true.
So
Yeah.
it's
Okay.
crazy.
Okay. Yeah. Definitely Dragonite better than Garchomp. I still think Garchomp is good, and Raisai should have terrored it, but that's past the point. Yeah. I actually really like the low tier picks. Again, like Rillaboom is like finer on this team than it was on. I don't remember who had it before.
He's got a lot of knockoff users. Like he's got Samurott, Rillaboom, and Riyama, and Donphan. He's got 4 knockoff ones, which in this gen is rare as well.
Yes,
because so much shit lost knockoff, so it's really good.
I also like the Electros pickup because since you're your only steel type in Zama, since that one doesn't resist flying, like you still need a bird resist. So like having an Electros is cool. The only thing I would have liked to see with it is maybe a Wishmon, but like unless Dragonite didn't keep Wish, did it? Am I crazy? It cannot.
It lost Heal Bell. I know that much.
It did not keep Wish. Okay.
No, it didn't keep Wish. It didn't keep Heal Bell either, so that's like pretty big. But
yeah. So I mean, like, I think Eel is still very good on this team. Again, like I like the team. It's just there are other teams that I like more. Is really the only way I can put it.
I can see this team making playoffs, though, for sure. Yes, so much. This team has a lot of potential.
Yep,
to do well.
I can definitely agree with that.
So I guess we'll move on to Mr. K Savage and his team, the Columbus Crobats. He's got Zamazenta Crowned, Regieleki, Screamtail, Tinglu, Skeledirge, Salamence, Serena, Basculegion, Meloetta, Hariyama, and Alolan Muck. And his Terra users are Regieleki, Skeledirge. So, yeah, strong. As I said strong start with the 2. We obviously just touched on Zamazenta being a very good offensive threat this gen, like to start off with. Same with Regieleki and its new toy in Terra. Going to be very strong. I think the Screamtail was early, but we kind of just said, it's new toy. It'll do its, it'll people will pick it just to want it and to use it, I suppose. Tinglu is crazy. Like it's so
as someone who just went up against it in my DGBA game, Tinglu is like it's fucking so fat and does it does way more damage than you think it's gonna do. It nearly 2 KO'd my Garchomp somehow with Earthquake.
Yeah, and then obviously Rio Nation being the new Nature's Madness is pretty good. It's got Whirlwind to
I will say, I know we're not talking about that Pokemon right now, but honestly, I think Ruination just on its own makes Wo-Chien not as bad as people think it is.
Yeah, I can see that for sure. But yeah, I like his Terra users a lot. Skeledirge, this is a really good Terramon because you can just kind of, with Unaware, it can pretty much be designed to check whatever it needs to. Like, say you're going up against a Spectre or something, you can Terra Normal this thing and just break past it with Torch Song spam and Shadow Ball, which is pretty good. Although I'm not a big fan of the Basculegion pick. I think it's okay. It's going to be forced into the female one a lot because you're going to run Shadow Ball. Obviously because it's not going to run Phantom Force because we banned Last Respect for those.
Oh right, yes, that is very true.
So it's not.
I think it was more just like the water pick. I think he just wanted a bulkier water,
which is fair enough. Yeah.
There's this I think I don't remember where I mentioned it, but I think I mentioned that might just be pretty boomer of us. It might take a couple seasons to get out of. We'll see. I guess we have to see how the whole meta changes. And as well, how Game Freak moves forward with content drops. We'll need to see. We'll need to wait till spring and when home releases to figure out whether we can go back to Nat decks and figuring out whether we actually need all the roles we thought we need throughout Draft League's history. We'll see on definitely. That. I will say. I am not a fan of the Salamence when it is not Terra. I talked about in the Poison Point PRs how I think Terra Salamence is crazy and how it's like the resurgence of what was used to be one of the top threats. Because like it lost Z moves from Gen 7, and then like it just got like essentially got nothing from Gen 8 because like it wasn't that good with boots, and then now you finally have it back with Terra, and like just not picking Terra basically means you have Gen 8 Salamence, but worse because I think it lost Defog.
It did.
It's like you can't even do that. I think I at least like, I mean, there's no. I'm not gonna talk about the top two because the top two are incredibly strong. Like there's no two ways around it. Screamtail is great utility in this gen, especially for the top two wanting to either like set up or encoring problem mons.
I do like the worst support it has for Tinglu as well, for sure.
Yes, that as well. And like also Tinglu being able to spam hazards is going to be very good because I think one of my main issues with this team is that like the hazard situation is a little iffy. I think it's just Screamtail Tinglu.
Yeah, but I think it's also not too bad because they're both very reliable ones. They'll get them up.
That's fair.
You know.
As far as removal goes,
I agree with you. I agree with you on the Salamence. It would have been better with Terra, but I also wouldn't have made it Terra over Skeledirge. I think he made the right choice with his 2 Terramons. But I agree with you. Like,
that's
Salamence,
fair.
like,
I guess then it comes down to like I think he should have just taken a different dragon, or like just or like changed up the team accordingly or whatever. The removal is like kinda whatever. Like it's just Regieleki Serena, and I don't know how often you want to run spin Regieleki, and I already said my piece about Serena being worse this gen. As far as the rest of this goes, it's like fine. The one thing I do want to shout out is like finally Meloetta's getting some love this gen, and that might have to do with the fact that we just have such a limited dex, but like I think that Mon was just like unnecessarily not like so cheap in our points drafts, but just like no one used it for like no real good reason other than the fact that it just like it's a fighting, or it was a normal psychic, that didn't resist fighting. But I think with Screamtail on this team, and even to an extent Skeledirge, I think being able to see Meloetta get some love now is going to be a lot better. I guess there's also the point of like less knockoff means less people have coverage for it, and with the prevalence of ghosts, like the normal typing probably outweighs the not being able to resist fighting.
Definitely. Yeah, I think I might be on something there. Because ghost types are massive threats this generation. Yes. It's probably the best type. Like,
it's almost like they were like that last gen too, but the fighting types were also just better.
Yeah.
All right, I don't really have much else to say about K Savage's team.
No, I think we're good to move on.
All right, we shall move on to number 13, which is Vinny the Winnie, coach of Team Liquidation. Vinny has drafted Tornadus Therian, Garchomp, Grimmsnarl round 3, Gengar, Mesprit, Quaquaval, Rotom Heat, Leafeon, Dondozo, Tinkaton, and Ursaring, with Terra Captains being the Tornadus Therian and the Quaquaval. And again, why didn't Vinny just fucking Terra the Garchomp? Like, I get it's new toys and stuff.
You have more justification for. I think Quaquaval is a good Terra Captain.
We covered this. We covered this. Spies and I talked about this, and it's funny because like we're gonna say this about every single fighting type because now every fighting type just gets to Terra into Ghost and have broken coverage.
Yeah,
like it's literally the coverage that made Marshadow banned. I mean, Marshadow had a bunch of other different tools, but like. It's just funny.
I think it's like good use of the Terra Electric as well for both the bulky waters.
I don't know. I just think Terra Garchomp is very, very good, and I think people just like I think people right now I think are just picking new toy Terras for the sake of new toys, and then they're not gonna realize that Terra Garchomp is just gonna be crazy good, because like for anyone who was around for Gen 7, Z Garchomp was absolutely cracked.
Oh yeah, it's absurd.
So
that boy was crazy.
that thing essentially got a kill every single game. But yeah, I think round 3 Grimmsnarl is a pretty big reach. But like, if you look at the team, it definitely
it
definitely fit with like the rest of what Vinny got, with like Plot Torn, SD Chomp, Like set up Gengar, Mesprit, Quaquaval. Like prankster screens mons are always going to be helpful for like getting your mons to set up to win. As far as the
say,
like, okay, you
no,
go.
I was gonna say, I will say after Quackabble, it gets very underwhelming.
Yes, that was exactly where I was going.
Okay.
Like,
Right.
no, it's fine. Like, but like, yeah, like we already touched on Rotom Heat being much like obviously all the Rotom forms got worse, but like Rotom Heat I think definitely took the brunt of it because like, it was already kind of whatever. Like similar to High Dragon, I think Rotom Heat was just like it was always a pick out of necessity, not because you wanted it, and like still having to pick a no defog, no pain split Rotom Heat this gen. Also losing Toxic, like just kind of feels bad.
Yeah, for sure.
Leafeon. I mean, I don't get why this was not the last
so
pick.
Early.
I
think
if Leafeon was the last pick, I would have no questions about it because it's just like such kind of a poop grass type. If you're gonna draft Tinkaton, I'll at least say that is the round to draft it. Ursaring as a last pick is very good. I'll at least say that. I'm also still not convinced on Dondozo, but again, I think that's just a mon I need to see more games with.
Yeah, it's just an unaware fat water type.
The only other thing I will say about Vinny's team is that he has fallen into the classic trap of Garchomp teams. Trap, I don't know if trap is the right word, but the tendency of Garchomp teams, which is you only draft 2 rockers, and damn, even Garchomp's the only spiker. There's no toxic spike. There's no point, or does Gengar get toxic spikes?
Gengar gets T-spikes this gen.
Okay,
yep.
So at least it gets that. But like, literally, when you draft Garchomp, it's just like, where's Tinkaton, right? Tinkaton. Okay, never mind. I take it back. The thing I was gonna say was that like every time a Garchomp team gets drafted, like you have such like a top tier rocker, you just forget to draft other rockers and you only end up with 2. So
yeah, it's fair.
But at least there's a Tinkaton. I don't know how often Vinny's bringing the Tinkaton, considering like what the top 6 are like. Like I think honestly, you could probably just bring the top 6 every week and probably win games. And then like the rest of it is just like plug and play whenever something has a truly horrendous matchup.
Yeah.
But like I don't know how often again. This team is all right. I think the bottom half gets underwhelming, and there were just other teams that I personally liked a little more.
It's a bit reliant on. I think it's reliant on Torn, just a little bit, because his speed is like a pretty big drop off after like Gengar. If you look at it, it's like goes from 110.
I mean, between like Torn to Gengar, then Gengar to Garchomp is like a fine.
Oh yeah, sorry, it goes from Garchomp to Quackabble, I think.
Oh, that's fine then. That's like fine. Like there could have been one Mon in there, but like this is like fine speed tiers. And as well, there's like a lot of Thunderwave Mons, right? Like Grimmsnarl, Gengar, Mesprit, Rotom. Like there is speed control. True. There is speed control there, and like even priority with Quaquaval. Like there's fine forms of speed control, and also Gengar plus Garchomp. The classic Gengar-Chomp core. Absolutely classy, absolutely broken. Love it.
Indeed.
All right. I don't really have much else to say about Vinny's team. Other than again, you should have terrored the fucking Garchomp. If you'd like to move on.
No, we can move on. Yeah.
All right.
To Mr. Nala on the East Coast Excretors. He's got Iron Bundle, Cinderace, Galar Slowking, Lycanroc Dusk, Zapdos, Galar, Florges, Quagsire, Forretress, Iron Jugulus, Gudra, and Hisuian Electrode. He's got Terra, Lycanroc Dusk, and Quagsire. So he's got the Iron Bundle again. Very, very good pick. Probably like I'd say it's top 2 in this draft pool in terms of mons. Cinderace is solid. Being able to it gives him a physical breaker, which I think Bundle in particular appreciates.
Yeah, I think those two are like the best offensive pair in this draft.
I think so. Yeah. G-King is like so much better this gen, like because obviously it pretty much gained teleport in the form of Chilly Reception, and it got T-Spikes, which I think is pretty big, and it didn't really lose anything other than Scald, which was a niche.
Yeah, Scald was really only used on the AV sets, just because what else are you gonna run on it?
I think his Terra captains are fine. Like he picked the right ones, but they're a little bit underwhelming. Like Lycanroc Dusk is good. Don't get me wrong; it's a really good.
I think maybe pick, like if Lycanroc Dusk instead of that one, you picked Iron Jugulus, I think would have liked it a little bit better. The Quagsire. Yeah. The Quagsire I'm not sold on just because, like, with how offensive you've made this team, having a random Quag to, like, kind of suck momentum feels weird. Especially when, like, you already have, like Fortress is, like, the second best steal for offense teams, like, only behind Klefki. Like, when you already have something that, like, spams hazards as Fortress does, like, I'm confused about the Quagsire.
Why he picked Quagsire? Yeah, I can agree with that. I suppose.
I think there was a better water or ground.
Also, round 6 just was way too early. Like, I'm
obviously higher on Florges than you are, but I kind of think 6 is a little bit early. Florges is at least better on this team because Scarf Florges is like actually kind of a decent anti-offense set, just like randomly being able to outspeed your opponent's offense, and then also having like, you know, like being able to wish pass into Goodra is probably good, and like wish passing into Iron Jugulus is also going to be good. Like I think it's better on this team than, I don't remember who had it, but like it definitely looks better on this team.
Yeah. No, I agree for sure.
Honestly, the main thing I don't understand is like why the Quagsire. Like you already have, like, unless you were really that down bad for another rocker, like other than just Lycanroc and Fortress, like it just that pick doesn't make any sense to me. Like I agree. I think it could have been a different rocker, but like it also could have been a different remover, right? So you didn't have to like rely only on. I guess you have Court Change Cinderace, but like if both teams are hazard stacking, then like what's the point?
Yeah. I mean, you can just say like it just fills the ground and bulky water roll as well, so you can't, you know.
That's basically it. And like Terra-ing it is fine, but I would not be surprised if, like, based on the way the team plays out in practice, that Nala changes the Terra captain to Jugulus.
Yeah, I can see that as well. For sure, because the water ground is already such a good type anyway. So like, you don't really.
The only argument is that, like, with Terra being a thing, like it essentially acts as hidden power returning. So like, I guess like this is like the fixed hidden power, right? It's not like any mon in the world can have hidden power grass, but like Terra grass could be a real thing just to like specifically pick off Quagsire.
Yeah,
so
for
like
sure.
I guess the idea is like to counter that, but even then, I still just think like having a different Pokemon and tearing the Jugulus would have been better.
Yeah, I think so. I think I agree with that for sure.
I at least like I know I was very against Hisuian Goodra earlier, but like at least with this Goodra, it was around 10 Goodra, so like it was at least like good late value.
Yeah, and free
like
draft,
I mean, Hisuian Electrode is like, you know, it's a new thing. It was obviously gonna go late. You know, you gotta pick something late.
I think it's all right.
I mean to set a low bar. To set a low bar, I think it's better than regular Electrode.
Yeah, it is for sure.
Yeah. Again, like, I don't know. It's just like I like this team. I think there were just other teams I liked more than it.
Which is the moral of the story so far. But yeah, that's kind of
yes. But that's how it's gonna go with 11 mon drafts.
I mean, we literally both. I think it's literally the definition of the middle of the road team, considering where we both had it.
Yeah, we both put Nala at 11, and somehow Nala still like went back a full ranking.
Yeah,
that's funny.
But...
All right, we shall move on to our actual number 11, which we have.
Which is before you say it as well. I think this will be interesting because you have it ranked 18th, while I have it ranked 3rd. So
yes. So I think the one after it is also like this, but like in the opposite direction.
Yeah.
So this is Lydian, coach of the Vittoria Victinis. Apologies for my Canadian ass trying to get that weird accent in there. But Lydian has drafted Dragonite, Meowscarada, Corviknight, Ursaluna, Sandy Shocks, Diancie, Slowbro, Tauros Blaze, I guess Paldean Tauros Blaze, however you want to call it, Azelf, Dragalge, and Mimikyu, with Terra Captains being Dragonite and Ursaluna. So again, Terra Dragonite is just one of the best Pokemon in the game. Ursaluna, I'm still not... Like, I think Ursaluna in general is good. I'm not convinced Terra is correct on it, especially when there's, like, Azelf and Mimikyu right there. Which, like...
I said that in my notes. I think he should have done Azelf, but...
Yeah,
I
like...
really like Ursaluna itself on this team in particular. Like, just acting as the main breaker.
Right.
For, like, Dragonite and Meowscarada. Because, you know, especially with Meowscarada and Corviknight being U-turn, like, being able to U-turn, Sandy Shocks with Volt Switch, get Ursaluna in and just, like, claim kills. Because it's so strong. It's so unbelievably strong. It's gonna force, like, so much prep, dude.
Right.
Yeah.
The hazard game is decent. Like, you know, you have 3 decent rockers: Sandy Shocks, Diancie, Azelf. You have two spikers: Meowscarada, Sandy Shocks, Corviknight as your only.
Diancie also gets spiked.
Diancie gets spiked out. What the fuck?
Yeah.
Oh my lord! Why does everything get hazard? Like, everything gets hazards, and and nothing gets removal.
Yeah.
It's just like Game Freak just doesn't give a shit. So yeah, like this. I mean, I was gonna say
that's my one gripe. I would have liked a spinner a lot.
Yes,
I think this team would have been
definitely.
so much better with a spinner. Like, this might have been.
Yeah.
Even though I have a ranked high anyway, but yeah. Like, default Corviknight's very, like, it's a reliable remover. It's gonna run default, like, pretty much every week. It's fine.
Yeah, but like I think this team definitely would have benefited from a spinner.
Also, T-Spike Dragal is good as well.
Oh,
so.
true. Yep. I'm not sold on either of the Slow Brothers this gen. It's just like literally losing its 2 best tools.
Slowking is way better than Slowbro.
Okay, actually, can you enlighten me on that? I'm confused as to why.
Just because Shelly Reception, Slowking gets it and Slowbro doesn't.
So it still pivots out. Interesting.
It still pivots. Yeah, Slowking can pivot.
Okay.
I don't think Slowbro can.
Oh, okay.
I'll double check that before I say anything.
Yeah, okay. So yeah, like I was literally about to say I'm not convinced about Slowbro now that it's lost literally its like the 2 best things about it last gen. Like, now
I unironically think Slowbro's best set is offensive Trick Room, and I'm not even capping.
I mean, it's still a fine
Trick
set,
Room,
but I think
Hydro Pump, Fire Blast.
Like, I think setup Slowbro probably will be a thing. But like, if you're just gonna use it offensively, you literally have an Azelf there. So like, why are you taking the Slowbro?
Yeah, I'm not really sure. Like, obviously regen, it's still it's okay. It's, you know, it's nowhere near.
Is there a particular reason why you ranked Lydian's team so high when clearly I'm like kind of whatever on it?
I just feel like the top 4 all synergize super well together. I love the role that I love Meowscarada and Corviknight being able to U-turn and get Ursaluna in. I love, like, Ursaluna breaks the team down and Dragonite can just win late game. I just think I'm very, very high on Terra Dragonite in general. I just think that one can win games like on its own.
That's fair.
Like, and I think the structure he has with his first 4 picks to support Dragonite is really good. And I think, like, he obviously got Sandy Shocks and Diancie, which I think were good steal picks, or like good picks in general. Azelf was a good offensive sleeper one. Dragalge is a good pivot as well with T-spikes and stuff.
Yeah.
Slowbro is okay. It's obviously it's lost a lot, but I think considering where he got it, it's a fine pick. I'm overall just very, very high on how he supported Dragonite mainly.
Okay, I can
correctly.
respect that reasoning.
This team is Dragonite or bust. I would say
that was my main thing, and like it's kind of similar to what we said before, like where I'm okay on all of the pieces individually, and as a team they only form okay. And mostly just and maybe like again, there's like a few question marks. Like I'm still like I have a rough idea on the value of Diancie and Azelf and Mimikyu and Dragalge, but like in terms of like, Sandy Shocks, I need to see more games with. New Slowbro, I need to see more games with. This new Tauros, I need to see more games with. So like, it was like just like, and even Meowscarada, I'm still, if I'm being totally honest, I'm not convinced of. Like again, there's like a lot of like what feels to be the key pieces I need to see more games with before I can make like a real strong judgment like you have.
That's fair.
I will at least say, like, I do agree that, like, Dragonite is, like, probably the win condition every single week. Which maybe that's fine. That's just personally how I don't like teams.
Is well, like, its speed stat at, like, 123. It's one of the few dark types that it keeps knockoff, or got knockoff. It's huge as well, especially with its speed stat. It can always come in a revenge, like, and be a good Scarfer every week. Or not every week, but it can be a good Scarfer. It can be a good, Life Orb user. It can spike stack itself. It's just a really good one, I think.
Fair enough. I don't really have much else to say about Lydian's team, unless you do.
I think I'm good to move on.
All right, what we got next?
We've got Mr. Yahoodles and his Cleveland Clampearls.
Yep.
And this is another...
This is another big contrast one, because I ranked you number one, Yahoodles.
I'm not so high on the team, but we'll get into it. So he's got Dragapult, Mew, Tinglu, Sylveon, Volcanion, Copperajah, Thundurus, Therian, Lucario, Quaquaval, Zarude, and Grafaiai. He's got Terra Mew and Lucario. So I'm going to leave you start off because you are very high on this team.
Okay, so first off, Dragapult was not allowed to Terra because that shit would be absolutely cracked with it. Second of all, like... Just like this is basically everything that like I want to be doing on a team, which is basically why I have it at number one. Like the hazard situation is like fine enough, right? Like Tinglu and Copperajah, you can bring one of those every week. And oh wait, Mew gets rocks too. Yeah. Mew, Tinglu, and Copperajah. Like you're gonna be able to every week find a place for at least one of those. And while in general I am lower on Mew this gen than last gen, the new Mew that we do have, which has basically been relegated to like either set hazards or just set up and win, I think has been supported very well on this team. Like specifically the last round Grafaiai is fucking hilarious to me because it's one of the better enablers for an offense team like this. Being like Prankster Parting Shot is so big, and then being able to like go into your setup mod of choice, whether that's Dragapult, Mew, Sylveon, Thundurus, Therian, Lucario, or Quaquaval, or even like Zarude.
It's got Encore as well, I'm pretty sure.
Yeah, like so. it just like literally, you literally just pick your offensive mon that you want, and you just like use Grafaiai to pivot into it like accordingly, whether you encore the thing or Parting Shot into it. And it's basically just like I'm very high on each of these Pokemon individually, and then like together I think this team just looks like a fucking blast to use. And then on top of the fact that like, Dragapult plus broken fighting types with Lucario and Quaquaval.
Yep.
It's basically it's a very utility high offense, which if you know me, I'm a very big fan of utility heavy offense.
That's definitely fair. No, I can get behind that. I will say, I think I probably ranked it a little bit too low. On second thoughts, I probably would put this in the higher ends of like maybe like 14 to 13, that kind of range. Obviously, you mentioned all the strengths with Mew as an offensive tool. It's very, very good. With offense, it's got endless setup opportunities, especially with Terra now, and its endless coverage options. I think that can be a menace to prep for. Every week, you can pretty much tailor it to be whatever setup win con you need. I'm not too fond of the hazard stack set anymore because of the fact that it lost recovery.
I can definitely understand that. It was more so it's an option for this team, like so you don't have to bring hazards on Tinglu or Copperajah every week. It's just like a thing it has. Yeah,
that's for sure. That's true. I don't like Copperajah. I don't think that one's good.
I think it's early. Worse in like this free draft. Basically in this free draft 12 Pokemon or sorry, 12-person draft. I think like if this was a budget draft, because like it was very popular in 8-mon last gen, right? And I think it's just because it was like for its budget and decent roll compression, it was good. Like we barely saw it get drafted in like standard league, right? But like it.
Oh yeah.
I don't know.
Yeah.
It's like I think it was more of a mon like that would have made sense if this was a budgeted draft, but like it just looks a little out of place because it's free. Like imagine for example if the Copper was moved to the 10th pick and everything else was moved to pick up, like it would have looked fine. It just looks weird that it's early.
It just does look weird that it's early. Yeah, I mean, I'm just not high on that one in general. I don't think it's good at all. Like, I'm very biased against it. But look, people use it. People can get good use out of it. That's fine. I think Tinglu is going to be the main hazard setter here. He's only got one removal, which is Quackhavel, and he's only got one spinner, which I'm not huge on because a lot of his mons are grounded. He doesn't have a grounded poison. He's no way to, so he's going to be very T-Spite weak, which I don't like. Terra Lucario, I don't really understand the Lucario pick in general because he got Quackhavel after it. I feel like I would rather a poison type there over Lucario and then Terra the Quackhavel. I think this team would be so much better then.
I can understand that one. I think Terra Lucario in general is good, but that's also speaking as someone who used a lot of Z Lucario in Gen 7.
I think Terra Lucario is very good. I just think on this team, I don't understand it over Quackhavel. I just think that's the better pick.
Or even Thundurus.
Yeah, even Thundurus as well. I think Thundurus is a very good user as well. Yeah. But yeah, my main thing would be the removal, the T-Spike weakness, and I think his just the hazard control I think is a bit lacking. I
can definitely.
Although I will say I think he did get some good mons. Like Thunderous Therian's a good steal, or as a Rude in round 10 was really good.
Yeah, that's kind of
wild. So I will admit, I think I did pick this too low. I think I'd probably put this higher up, like maybe 13 or 12. But I think the T-Spike weakness will really hurt him, especially on this team.
Literally just looking at it now, like round 9 Quackhavel is actually crazy. Like not even in terms even in terms of power, like not even in terms of power level, but like just like it's a new toy and like an actual like kind of good new toy, and just no one took it until round 9 is kind of crazy.
That is a bit weird, actually. Yeah.
But yeah, I'm all right. I am out of things to say about why I love Yahoodles' team. If you're good to move on to
we're good.
Number 9, which we have Metal, coach of the Hollow Nest Heracross. Metal's team consists of Xianpao, Goldengo, Slowking, Glamora, Haxorus, Slitherwing, Enamorous Therian, Nodfan, Electros, Cantonian Tauros, and Hisuian Samurott, with the Terra users being Goldengo and Haxorus. That is because we have a complex of Xianpao not being allowed to Terra. We're on our first Xianpao team, pretty far up. I wonder if that means something, Slick. Do you think that means something?
It might maybe just a little bit.
Also,
yeah.
I'm
very good.
I'm very glad that I'm very glad that someone finally decided to Terra Goldengo, because I think that Pocket Monster with Terra fighting is going to be crazy just to have good fighting stab, or even just like like Goldengo. I think is going to be similar to why I'm so big on Garchomp being a Terra, just like the flexibility of being able to use Terra both defensively and offensively, I think is going to be very big for it.
Yeah, absolutely.
I know we talked about, or I guess rather Spies and I talked about in Poison. I don't remember who had it in Poison Point, but someone had the Goldengo Glamora core. Oh, it was ASDF, and they had Great Tusk on top of that. And this team has a Donphan, so it's like a little bit the same, but like I think this team is like essentially going to win the Hazard War every single week.
Every single week, absolutely.
Like, you literally have like the best blocker in Goldengo, and like I guess you have like 2 good spinners because Glamora can spin too, along with Donphan. And then also just like the two crazy good offensive threats in Chien Pao and Terra Haxorus. And then, like, just random Enamorus, Therian, and Slitherwing on top of that, like, with two bulky attackers. And then, like, the value you got. I'm very surprised, going from talking about round 2 Donphan and Poison Point with Galval, all the way seeing Donphan fall to round 8. I think that's good. That's good value. Like, that's very good roll compression this generation. And then even the last 3 picks, which are normally like your budget picks anyways in a regular draft, like, I think you just got good value out of them with Electros being a really good bird resist in general. Tauros is like for its speed tier and like for its coverage is good value, and just like and the last end grabbing, like, Hisui and Samurott is gonna be good. Like, we talked about like a Dark with knockoff, and then also I don't remember what the move is called, but like the same thing with Ceaseless Edge, yeah, the one that sets spikes.
Yeah,
it's like, really again, just another thing that's gonna make him win the Hazard War every single week. And then, like, that's not to say, like, literally, fucking Goldengo Glamora to kill the fairies for Chien Pao. What?
Yeah, really, really good.
This team is crazy to me. I still like Yehoodles' team more because I think there was a lot more depth to it. Because, like, obviously, like, Yehoodles' team could not be possible in a budgeted draft, but, like, this team is very possible in that. And, like, I just think, like, man, Chien Pao, Goldengo, Glamora is going to win so many games together. I'm very excited to see this team play out.
Yeah, no, I agree. I think my the one thing I have it a little bit lower just because I think the Terra users, while they are good, I think they're a little less, we'll say, unproven. Like, I kind of agree with you with Goldengo and, like, hyping it up and saying, like, Terra fighting can be good for it. And same with Haxorus. I think that, like, Terra Dragon, Terra Ground and stuff will be very good for it. I just think they're better Terra users. I think with Terra being so important right now, like, it's very centralizing as a mechanic. It can really depend on the results of a game. If your Terramon goes well or not. So right. I think while they have potential to be good, I'm just not sure. I'm not so sure on them yet. I'm not quite sold, but I could be proven wrong. I could be very easily proven wrong.
I think so. I think objectively, Enamorus was probably a better Terra captain than Haxorus, but then it comes to the point of Haxorus being very underwhelming without Terra. Is the one thing. Yeah. I think Goldengo was definitely correct. I am very high on Terra Goldengo, just like with its flexibility of it. But yeah,
I haven't seen Terra Goldengo from what I've played and watched so far in other leagues. So.
I just like
I agree.
I'm very big on flexibility on stuff like that.
Yeah. For sure.
But yeah, I don't have a lot. I already gushed about this team for a long time.
I do like the Slowking pick. I like the Slowking pick a lot well for Chilly Reception.
I had no idea. Like, I knew what Chilly Reception did, but I didn't realize that Slowking and Galar Slowking learned it, which is actually makes it relevant.
Yeah, like Slowking gets it, but not
wait, that summons Snow, right? I'm not crazy.
Yeah, it does.
Yeah, okay, so Chien Pao gets a random. How did we go this long without mentioning that there's a Chien Pao on this team?
I know, yeah. Yeah. That mon's gonna win.
Yeah, that mon's gonna win. That mon is broken for those who don't know.
Very
and
good.
The snow giving it random. It gets a Fizz Def boost.
No, it gets both. I think
both. Oh man, that's crazy.
I think it's both. Yeah.
So that's actually, man, that's fucking wild.
Yeah. So
just like random. I think it'll probably still die to Mach Punches, but other priority, having it not die to those is probably going to be. I'm calling it now. It's going to be relevant in at least one game.
Yeah. Yeah. 100%.
All right. I am done gushing about Metal's team. If you would like to move on.
Yeah, we definitely can. To Mr. Endless Gadgets and his New Jersey Devil Plumes. And he's got Goldengo once again. He's got Annihilate, Azumarill, Glamora, Sandy Shocks, Noivern, Azelf, Wochien, Cyclizar, Gastrodon, and Alolan Muck, with his Terra users being Annihilate and Azelf. So this is Ghost Spam, the movie, but I think he has done it very, very, very well, I have to admit. Um, so obviously you've got the first two picks, Goldango, Annihilate. So you've got like the Ghost Spam itself. You have Azumarill to switch into the fightings and the dark types and be able to force them both out and threaten them with setup with Rally Drum and player off and stuff. He's got the Goldango Glamora core, which obviously, you know, like the
Yeah, like
premier
another way
control.
to win Hazard Wars, especially with like actual good other removal on top of that with Noivern and Cyclizar, and then also you get like Sandy Shocks, Azelf, Gastrodon as your other hazard setters.
Yeah.
So like you again another team that's like the two Goldango Glamora teams are in separate pools for those who don't know, so they will never play each other, which means both of them can win the Hazard War every week.
Alolan Muck being his dark type that can knock off spam as well to get rid of boots and stuff. I think, yeah, this team, it's funky a little bit. It's a bit more. Funky. But I think he did it well. I think he did, like, he went for the idea, and I think he executed it like perfectly. Yeah. If I'm honest.
So like, the only thing that I'm not like, I know Goldango Glamora was bound to be a very common core, I think, especially at the start of the gen. The one thing that I'm not like a big fan of those two being together is that, like, other than their Hazard War synergy, they kind of do very similar things, right? They're both kind of bulky and both have a strong special attack, and with just like okay coverage. So like they're kind of redundant in that fact, but like it's not like they're incredibly strong, right? But like, and like, add on top of that, you kind of have another one on your team with Sandy Shocks that's like very similar in that respect to it, like being kind of bulky and like a strong special attacker, but not like game breaking. But then you just have like if you train your if you EV train your walls to be special like that, you're just gonna get blown back by Annihilate and Azumarill, which is really funny.
Yeah.
And then like I think there's just like a lot of value in the bottom half of it. It's like I mean we kind of said it before, where like I think Endless can like bring the top 4 close to every week, and then like the last 2 slots are very plug and play, depending on what you need every
one thing this team lacks is just speed. You've got Noivern and Azelf, but they're not, you know, they're not exactly the most reliable ones ever.
I mean, you have Cyclizar as well. And Cyclizar, you can't forget also Thunder Waves for speed control.
Yeah, it does, yeah. I mean, he's got priority with Azuak, which that's good, and then like Shadow Sneak Muck, I suppose, is okay. But I think I would have liked to seen just a more reliable, like faster, like I don't know, like a Sneasler or something would have been pretty good here. Like, so that's just like an example, like just something like fast that can reliably come every week. Would have been like, I think that would have like pushed this team like higher up for sure.
Yeah. The one thing that I'm concerned of is like, I'm confused on the Gastro pick, considering like they're like, you already have your bulky water and Azu, you already have a ground and Sandy Shocks. You already, like, before the Gastro pick, you are winning the Hazards War anyways with Glamora Sandy Shocks. Like, adding Gastro for the redundancy of that fact seems very weird to me. Unless there's, like, a very specific mon you're scared of. I'm just, like, I feel like that could have been literally anything else to, like, fix up a different patch up a different weakness for this team.
Yeah, I agree, I think. And I like Gastrodon. I think the Gastrodon as a mon is fine, but I think on this team I agree, it's a bit redundant.
On a team that already has redundancy, as I said, with like Goldango, Glamora, Sandy Shocks. But yeah, I don't have much else to say about this pick. Like it was like slightly above average. I mean, clearly considering we both ranked at 8.
Yeah. No, I definitely think it's in the top half of teams.
Yeah,
I think
definitely.
It's just missing that one speed factor, and I think it would have been like top end for sure.
All right, so then if that is the case, we shall move on to number 7, which is Burning. How's it going, everyone? Coach of the New York Durants. Burning's
How's everyone doing?
How's everyone doing? Burning's team consists of Roaring Moon, Galar, Slowking, Enamorous Incarnate, Urshifu Rapid, Cleavor, Orthworm, Iron Hands, Skeledirge, Hippowdon, Satitan, and Arboliva, with the Terra users being Urshifu Rapid and Skeledirge. This is another one where like we're kind of very different ends of this. I'm more of a middle of the road for Burning's team, but you clearly seem to like this one.
Yeah, I just love the first 5 picks. I think the first 5 picks all together are like so good. I think all 5 of them are gonna come every week. You've got Skeledirge, which is another amazing Pokemon that can almost pretty much come like a lot. You have Iron Hands, which I think he got pretty late. Like as in compared to Mogo, who got it round 2, you get Iron Hands here in round 7. I think is incredible. Titan, obviously with Chili Reception paired with the Titan is really, really good. With Slosh Rush and like the Belly Drum set and stuff. Orthworm is okay, but I will admit I think it's
very early Orthworm.
It's early. Like I'm not the biggest Orthworm fan. However, it does give him the spikes he needs, and it's his only spiker. So I think it can like be brought in that role. It doesn't get outclassed by like anything and any other like one he has. So yeah, he's got that. He's got Stone Axe, obviously we mentioned earlier with Cleavor. I think that one's very, very slept on. Roaring Moon's obviously a threat still, even with the complex bands.
Yeah, I think with the Slowking, I think it makes sense.
Yeah, and I think Urshifu Rapid on this team is much better as well than it was on
JCap's team.
Yeah. I just think this team has so many threats that you have to prep for. Like even lower down, like you have his first 5, as I said. You've got the Skeledirge, you've got the Titan, you've got the Iron Hands. Like I just think there's so much potential here.
Round 8 Skeledirge is like wild value.
Very good.
It's like similar to like Yahoodles' Quaquaval in round 9. I'm very surprised that mon is still here at this point.
Mm-hmm. I think Hippowdon's a little bit odd, but it's a ground type.
I think Hippowdon's odd with Arboliva.
Oh yeah.
I think that is what confuses me. I think either of those like separately are good. It just feels weird that they're on the same team when like they quite literally do opposites. Like you want Hippo to like the sand from Hippo mitigates the recovery from terrain, and the terrain hinders Hippo's earthquaking. It's just like it just feels weird. I think the main reason that I have it ranked so low, like obviously the Orthworm was a little early, but again, it's just it's just a symptom of the format where like if you want a specific steel type, you get it early because like they're very limited, so you get the one you want. I think the main thing is that I just like have no idea how Cleavor plays out in practice. Like I can make any assumption I want to on paper, but like in practice, it can just play like vastly different, right? And like even things like Iron Hands and to a lesser extent Skeledirge and even an Enamorous Incarnate I already touched on. Like I'm not convinced. Like there's just a lot of pieces on this team.
Yeah.
There's a lot of pieces on this team that are just like a big question mark to me, strictly because I haven't seen games played with them, which is why like it's just naturally a little bit lower for me. But I can definitely, with your arguments, see that like how this can be a top tier team. Like clearly I ranked it in my top half, so I think it's still good. But it's just like how good is it? I don't know, because I just haven't seen games played with a lot of these mods.
The potential is definitely there.
I can agree that the potential is there, but I'm just not sold is all I'm saying.
No, that's totally fine. Yeah.
All right. Shall we? Unless you have other things to say about Burning's team.
I was just going to say the one more thing I want, bro. If you should totally bring Trick Room G King and bring like Trick Room Arboliva, bro. That one's going to go in. I think it's like.
I think like offensive Arboliva is slept on. Like it already has like good bulk and like an okay defensive typing. But like I think like there is a real Trick Room mode team with like the Slowking, Arboliva, Titan. I think that's for sure. That's going to be cool.
To catch people off guard. Trick Room, Chili Reception. That's really good.
All right.
We can move on.
All right.
Yeah, we can move on to Mr. Seathmon and his Vienna Waterfalls. So he's got Chin Pao, Lando T, Iron Moth, Zapdos, Gardevoir, Hisuian Lilligant, Magnezone, Quagsire, Lycanroc Dusk, Tyranitar, and Ceruledge. So, Qin Pao Part 2.
Yeah.
I think this is probably, in my opinion, the better of the Qin Pao teams because I think the Lando T pairing is so
Yeah,
it's just better.
I cannot deny like Terra Lando T with Xian Pao is pretty busted. My main thing was more just like the rest of the pieces, because like I think like the top three are very very good, obviously, and worth the top three picks. Zapdos is
I'd say
probably
top 4.
the okay. So here's the thing with Zapdos. It just got so much worse this gen, right? Like no defog, no toxic, just like and even like the roost nerf because it has less power points. Like so even the pressure PP stall set is like just objectively worse. Like I am just like not convinced those nerfs are good enough. It's probably still fine round 4. I just don't think it's like the Titan it once was, right? And then
That's totally fair.
and then the rest of the team is like underwhelming / I mean, I guess Cerulege and Lilligant are the only question marks. Gardevoir this gen, Gardevoir this gen I get because like the steals are so worse and the lack of fairies, that makes sense. And even with Magnezone, like Gardevoir plus Magnezone is good. Tyranitar as the dark type is like Tyranitar as a Mon is fine, but just like the consistent nerfs with like without a good Sand Rush Mon to abuse it, and then like the no pursuit from last gen is like also still a thing. But basically, like this team looks like it was another budget draft team. Like this team would have been fine if this was a budget like a budget draft, but considering that it's free. It's free draft and in 12-person pools instead of 16. It just looks the rest of the team looks very underwhelming compared to the top 3.
I can get behind that. Yeah. I think what boosted it for me is I'm a bit higher on Zapdos than you are still. I still think it's really good with obviously Hurricane Spam. I think it's still, a U-turn as a pivot. I think Hisui and Lilligant's actually really good with its new move, Victory Dance. Like, it's basically just a physical pivot dance move. And it's very strong with Hustle. So I've seen that thing sweep a few games already. So it's that thing's a big threat. Lycanroc Dusk was a good snag in round 9.
I'll
pretty
say
good.
that, yes, I agree with that.
And I think Cerulege round 11, Cerulege. I think that's really good. I think that one is extremely slept on right now. So I've mocked a few people with Cerulege, and bro, SD Bitterblade would if you have boots and like you can run this thing pretty bulky because its bulk is pretty decent in new invest, and obviously SD Bitterblade can heal back and it can dent holes in teams. I'm not obviously Terra Lando I think is really good. I think that's like one of the best Terra users. I'm not sold on the Magnezone.
I think that's more of to counter ground types, I would assume. Like you Terra flying it or something.
Potentially.
Or even Terra Grass or something. Like I assume it's more for the defensive factor as opposed to the offensive factor.
That's fair enough. Yeah. Maybe. I would have preferred
I think Terra Iron Moth would have just been better.
That too, yeah.
But like
I don't know. Maybe it can do things.
I'm
really I mean Qin Pao Lando T. I just think that
that's a fucking broken core.
Crazy good. You've got Iron Moth Zapdos who can both U-turn into each other and get those threats in. You've got like the Hisui and Lilligant that can break for them. The Cerulege that can break for them as well, and like just win games itself. I just think this team is breaker spam with like good cleaners. That I think the Quagsire fits on this team really well because of the spike stack and the toxic spikes and stuff.
Yeah, I can see that.
He's got good rockers. He's got Lando, Lycanroc, Tyranitar, Quagsire. There's like 4 like good rockers as well. Removal, he's got.
It's just the Lilligant, isn't it?
Lilligant. Okay, that's a big. Yeah.
I mean,
so you said Zapdos lost defog, which I actually did not know. I did. Yes. I thought it had defog, so.
Or at least I'm pretty sure it did. I mean,
No, I did. I just checked. I checked while you were talking about it. Yeah.
Yeah. So like, I mean, that part isn't as big of a deal because like I'm not sure how often you're because like you have Lando, Lycanroc, Tyranitar to rock every week. I'm not sure how often you bring Quag to rock. So if you bring it, it's just gonna have spikes anyways. And I'm not sure how often you're bringing Quagsire specifically to spike up.
No, that's true. That's also true. Like you don't want to fit it on every build. But I think I probably will knock the team back a little bit, which is on the removal end, because I was under the impression Zapdos had defog still, but
yeah, like yeah. I can obviously acknowledge the fact that Qianpao plus Lando T is busted, but it's just I'm not sold on the quality of the rest of the team to rank it as high as you did. I still think it's good, but I'm not sold on the quality of like the bottom end of this team.
That's fair, yeah. I mean, I'm probably going to knock it back a little bit just because of the no defog Zapdos, won't I? But yeah, no.
All right, so you're good?
Yeah.
All right, so we shall move on to what I believe is the start to like just like our objectively we both agree are like the best teams. So to start, we actually have a tie for number 4 and 5 because we both have the exact same ranks for the two of them. Like as in, I rank this team. I guess I'll say like it's Sun's team first, but I ranked this 6 and you ranked this 5, and the next team you ranked 6 and I ranked 5. So to start we have so to start we have Sun, coach of Palmy Sucks. Terrible team name. Not because I don't think Palmy sucks or whatever, but like I just don't like meme names like this. But Sun has a team of Iron Valiant, Chi-Yu, Iron Treads, Gothitelle, Rotom Wash, Moltres Galar, Slowbro Galar, Kilowattrel, Bramblegast, Dunsparce, and Glastrier, with the Terra users being Chi-Yu and Gothitelle. First of all, I think Sun was in Pool B, so Pool B coaches, how the hell did you let Sun get Valiant into Chi-Yu?
Yeah, that's crazy.
Like you literally had to wait. He literally had to wait the whole fucking first 2 rounds in order to get Chi-Yu again. Is absolutely crazy. Second of all, I think this team objectively, I think this is the best first 4 picks in the draft. Like no joke. Like Valiant is busted, Treads is the ultimate roll compression mon, and then like probably the 2 best Terra users in the game, with Chi-Yu just breaking shit and Gothitelle solving any problem that you want by trapping it. Honestly, I can get behind it. If I'm being honest, those top 4 alone are what kept this team so high for me, because if I'm being totally honest, I am only mid on the rest of the team. Rotom Wash is Rotom Wash is still the best.
I think Rotom Wash is still fine.
It's still the best Rotom form. Moltres Galar is still fine, but the rest the rest of the team is like kind of what like I can see Slowbro Galar too, but
it's an alright pivot, yeah.
But like
I kind of like Kilowattrel. It's like a budget Zapdos. It's got defog. I'm pretty sure.
I think it would have looked better if this was again a budgeted draft.
Never mind, I lied. It does not have defog.
No, it does not. Okay. It's an offensive mod. But like again, this late into the draft, I'm not sure how good the pickings were. And then the rest of it is kind of whatever, right? Like I will say, at least round 9 Bramblegast makes way more sense than round 6 or round 5.
6. Yeah.
As like a secondary spinner to Treads, it's fine. The Dunsparce is another rocker to Treads is also fine. I'm still thinking you're probably gonna run Stealth Rock on Treads a lot. I'm not sure how often you want to bring the Dunsparce. Glastrier, I mean, I guess it's the 11th pick, right? Like you just pick whatever you want in the 11th slot. I don't know. There is like, other than the fact that Sun's top 4 are absolutely broken, and he can probably win games with just those 4 alone, and then like the last 2 being filler. Like the rest of the team, I am not completely sold on. But like I said, I think the first 4 picks are just that good enough that I don't think it really matters that much.
No, I agree. Yeah, I think the first 4 and Galar Moltres they'll pose huge threats every week.
Yeah.
And then Rotom Wash as a support role for like the top 6 are probably going to come like pretty much mostly every week.
I agree with that. It's like only under very specific like it's basically like only if there's like, I mean, I didn't draft this team, so I haven't looked into it completely, but like I'm sure like I've said every time, it doesn't matter how well you draft. There's always gonna be a mon that rips your team apart. So like, I guess with those 6 Pokemon, if there's one team that rips them apart, like I guess you substitute one of your top 6 with something else that maybe helps with that. I don't know how often that is because again, I think the first 4 are just that good. But yeah, we'll see. We'll see. Anyway, that was enough of me talking about. Yeah.
I'm gonna stop gassing up Sun because he's still gonna be forever stuck in Quick Feet.
Look, if there was ever a team that could get Sun out of Quick Feet, it's 100% the Iron Valiant plus Terrachiyu team. Yeah. Like that's like I mean I hate to rag on Ishan because I love Ishan, but that's like saying like
bring him back.
Like fucking like he got carried the one season by Dragapult Mega Medi, right? That just proves that like it can like fucking carry anyone, right? And I think if there was another core that could carry anyone, it would be yeah, I mean yeah. Like if there was a core that could get Sun out of Quick Feet, it's 100% this one. Fucking Valiant plus Terrachiyu is crazy.
I mean, if we're like real talk, I think he's one of the best players in Quick Feet at this stage.
I also agree with that.
He should do well with this first 4.
Yeah. And then whatever he wants for the last 2 every week.
Yeah. So yeah, I think our review of Not Enough to Say, we can move on.
Yeah, I've said my piece.
Yep, so we can move on to Mustang and his Brooklyn Breloons. And he has got Dragapult, Sneasler, Heatran, Mew, Zapdos, Sylveon, Decidueye, Gastrodon, Tyranitar, Tauros, Paldean, Tauros, Aqua, and Grafaiai. And he's got Terra, Mew, and Heatran. So, second Dragapult team, I think, just pairing it with Sneasler.
Yeah, that is fucking crazy. Dragapult plus Sneasler is like I can't really say it's the new.
Dragapult Medi.
Yeah,
that's like.
I mean, I think Sneasler's a different fighting type than Medi, but like, but that's still gonna be a fucking broken core, I think.
I just like the speed that it pairs with Dragapult as well, mainly, and the poison type as well.
If only this was like Gen 8 Mew or like a Mew that had recovery, I think this would be the perfect team. Because like you said, you have like Dragapult plus Sneasler for the speed to beat any offense, and then like if this Mew had recovery like it did last gen, it would beat the rest of the offense because it would be too fat. It would literally just be the Mew Mega Arrow. Like that's kind of that's a throwback call out to Gen 7 when Mew Mega Aerodactyl was like the best counter pick to everyone picking offense. Or sorry, the best counter pick to everyone picking balance is what I meant to say. But anyways, I think I interrupted you, so you can go ahead. I apologize.
No, I think I was just gonna say like I would have loved to have seen like a Grimmsnarl or a Klefki on this team, bro. Imagine this team with screens and Mew. Oh my god, like this team would have been crazy.
He kind of has that, right? Like there's a Grafaiai, which like screens and parting shot are obviously different, but like using Encore plus parting shot to get in your whatever setup you need is like effectively the same thing, right?
And he's got the screens potential on Zapdos and Sylveon, which is solid. He's got good rockers as well with Heatran, T-Tar, Gastrodon.
Yeah.
Mew if needed.
I think that there's enough good rockers that you don't need it on Mew.
Yeah, exactly. Wish for Heatran is good with Sylveon as well. I like that a lot. Spikes, he's got the Gastrodon, but I don't know if you're going to be able to fit it as much as he'd like. That's the only thing.
I mean, to set a low bar, I think it's a better spiker on this team than Mew. I think Mew wants to just like set up and win.
I just think Mew is going to want to set up every week, I think. And like that's like because Mew this gen because it has no recovery, I feel like offense Mew like SD like Nasty Plot, I think those are its best sets.
Yeah, probably.
Like Dragon Dance, those as well, like that. I just think those are its best sets for sure. This gen. But yeah, like you're gonna want to bring the top 4 pretty much every week. You're gonna want Zapdos a lot. You're going to want Sylveon a lot. T-Tar is gonna want to fit in there a lot as well. So he might struggle to fit Spikes as much as he would want to, which I suppose holds the scene back kind of. But at the same time, like he's just got a load of good bonds.
Yeah, I
So you
think that
can't really,
just like the quality of every single mon is like quite high, and
I
like
don't think there's not a bad pick on this team,
I
if I'm
mean,
honest.
the only one that again, like we mentioned, I'm not convinced on is like the Tauros, just because like I haven't seen really any games how it plays out. I really haven't seen Grafai. Maybe I'm hyping up Grafai a little too much, but just like
Stats are like lackluster. It's like a budget Whimsicott, I would say.
yeah, I think it's like a little bit better than Whimsicott, if I'm being honest. Like, and that's speaking as a Whimsicott fan, but like I think Parting Shot is just better than Whimsicott's U-turn, especially like for how utility heavy Grafai is. It's like essentially the Klefki of this generation, right? It's like
Yeah,
offensive
and it does
presence
get
is
knocked off. It
essentially
gets knocked
none.
off as well.
Yeah, so like more utility to help out with the team. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm a big fan.
Toro,
I'm a big
Toro's,
fan of like the quality of each individual mon, and then they make a very good team together.
Yeah, no, I agree. Yeah, no, I was gonna say with Tauros, it's just water fighting is it's a good stab combo. Obviously, it gets like wave crash, it gets close combat. It's got like strong moves,
Right.
and it's pretty fast. So I think it's a low tier offensive pick. It's fine. It won't come every week, but you can surprise a couple of people, maybe.
I can see that. All right, I think that's enough talking about Mustang. So unless you have other things to say.
No, I think I'm good here.
All right, so let us move on to our number 3 coach, which is Nashoba, coach of the Celestial Chandelure. Nashoba's team consists of Palafin, Great Tusk, Thunderous Incarnate, Bronzong, Diancie, Decidueye, Salazzle, Salamence, Bisharp, Slowbro, and Dunsparce, with the Terra users being Thunderous and Salamence. It's been a bit since we've seen the Palafin, huh? It was all the way back in the last place coach.
Yeah.
The last time we saw Palafin. I never mentioned it then, but I'm very excited to see how this plays out in draft. I think its justifications for its ban on OU was like not good. I think it was like, especially considering like they waited 4 days after the first round of bans of Fluttermane and Houndstone. I think they just like did not let the meta settle enough, which, I mean, again, what I was saying about the Chiyu thing is like a totally different conversation about something completely unrelated. But anyways, I'm excited.
My experience of draft or Palafin and draft, because I have it in LD right now, it's very, very, very good. But I have it with Terra, so
oh yeah. So
with this thing with no Terra, I think it's gonna be easier to check, like a lot easier to check.
I mean,
which is
yeah.
why I'm not as high on it as round 1.
I mean, that's fair. I don't remember how early/late in the draft Nashoba was. I mean, but the other thing too is that like you got to take it round 1 most likely, because you just don't know. Like it's almost never making it back to you if you don't. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
I think the Terra users are. I mean, this might be the boomer in me, but like seeing Terra Thunderous and Terra Salamence just like takes me back to the Gen 7 days when those two were like literally the top, like 2 of the top Z move users. Like I think this is like I said before, Salamence's resurgence, especially now with like the one thing with Z moves on Salamence was that it never got to have heavy duty boots. I mean, 1, because Z took up an item slot, and 2, heavy duty boots didn't exist. But like now with boots and Terra, just like I think this thing's gonna be an absolute monster. Especially, oh my god, the fucking mixed sets you can get with this. Oh my god, I'm very excited to see Terra Salamence play out, and Terra Thunderous is obviously gonna be good.
I'm a huge advocate for Thunderous as a Terra user, just because its ability to have Nasty Plot, agility, and bulk up, so it can set up on both sides. Its stats are so good already.
Yeah.
To support that offensive, threat that it can be. Like, bro, if he really wants, he can literally make it Terra Ghost. If your opponent is like weak, like has no good Ghost for switching, you can make this thing Nasty Plot with Terra Ghost and just win, because its stats are that good.
Yes, I think Thunderous was always one of my favorite tools on an offense team, and like I didn't get it in my draft in Swarm, but I am very excited to play with Terra Thunderous this generation. I cannot wait to draft her for the first time.
Yeah, I have it on my team, and it's been really fun to build with.
Yeah, the only thing I will say with this team is that like the round 4 Bronzong and the round 5 Diancie are very early, obviously. But again, that's
Yeah, they're very early.
that's like
Yeah.
a symptom again of like the limited decks and getting the things that you want / need early. But I think the picks that he took after that, like, kind of like I want to say made up for it, but like I think really the only one that actually made up for it was like the Salamence. I think like a lot of people aren't very high on Decidueye and Salazzle like I am, but I am very high on both of those Pokemon. Especially when like you get Decidueye plus Thundurus to break any water for Palafin is obviously going to be good. Like I'm very high on Decidueye, unlike most people, but like I think it's a very good roll compression mon, right? Like it can be bulky because like it still has Roost and like its defenses are still okay. It sets up on both sides with Swords Dance and Shadow Ball, and then also gives you the ability to pivot if you need it to.
Yep. No, for sure.
I will, like, I don't know. It just, I can't even describe what I want to say because I think this is, if there was a personal bias team in my power rankings, I'm pretty sure it's this one because like if you look back at like this one compared to what was it? I can't remember who's fucking, but like a lot of the other teams that like probably had like higher quality mons. But like this team just has a lot of mons that I like using. Basically, like the first 8, I would love to. I guess I haven't used Great Tusk yet, but like basically from picks like 3 to 8, I would just like pick in a heartbeat anyways. And then like I think the other mons that he got are fine. Like
that's totally fair. Yeah. Although I think this is the second team that has Bisharp, which I don't know why it's there. I don't know.
Yeah, I mean it's a dark type.
Oh, he doesn't have a dark type. He doesn't have a dark type. Never mind.
But also, like Bisharp with Eviolite is like fine now, right? It's like kind of the same thing with Dunsparce, right? It looks weird at first, but like both of those Pokemon can hold Eviolite now, right? Yeah. So they're like at least provide something. Like they're other rockers now that can take hits. Slowbro, I'm still not convinced of, but again, I can
round 10. So like that's
yeah,
probably fine.
It's probably fine as a round 10 pick. But yeah, I think the reason I have this rated so high is probably just because of personal bias and like having personal bias for like the early mid of this draft. It's just like they're very me Pokemon that a lot of people don't have a lot of value in general. But I am aware of how well they can be, and I think. I just really like this team. It's literally the only reason why it's this high. I just like it.
That's
like
totally
the whole point.
Fair.
It's the opinions.
Yeah. That's totally fair. Yeah. How dare you have an opinion on this?
I know. What the fuck?
But like that's probably you're like how you view this team is probably how I view my number 1 team, which we'll get into soon.
Yeah, that is fair. Well, we're not there yet, but you want to introduce our number 2 team?
Yeah. So coming in at number 2 on the rankings, we have Miss Sapphire and the New Haven Greninjas. So she has Urshifu Single, Torntea, Rotom Wash, Scizor, Gengar, Screamtail, Toedscruel, Goodra, Arcanine, Uxie, and Glastrier, with the Terra users being Scizor and Gengar. Yeah, we'll pick Urshifu Single, Torntea. Wow.
Yes.
very, very good.
That's the core that carried. That's the core that Palkia won Quick Feet last season on.
Yep.
I will say I think Terra Torntea or not Terra and Torntea.
Yeah, I think that's a choke.
Yeah, I think Torntea is one of the best Terra users.
I
don't know which one of Gengar or Scizor you take it off of.
I would have taken off Gengar, I think.
I can see that, yeah.
Because Terra normal Scizor is really good with quick attack.
Oh, I didn't even think about that. Yeah, I can see that.
Yeah.
I just assumed Terra Steel to get an even stronger bullet punch, but like
yeah, you can do that as well.
Yeah, like Terra normal for Thing is definitely also good. Round 3 Rotom Wash I think is a little early. I get that Saf had the wheel pick, but like this isn't Gen 8 Rotom Wash, right? So
yeah, it did lose a lot. I think I said that to her as well because she was telling me about this team. I said I think Rotom Wash was a tad bit early, but it's also not a bad pick. I like it. It's still gonna do. Your Volt Switch, your screens, Will-O-Wisp, those shenanigans. It's still fine. Scizor, I'm very, very high on this gen. I think it's extremely good. Especially since I got Trailblaze now as well. So it
I
can
didn't
boost
even
its
think
speed.
about. I mean, what didn't get Trailblaze though?
Yeah, yeah.
Fucking everything
Um,
got it for some reason.
close combat was huge.
Holy, I did not know it got that.
Yeah, it did. It did get that. Yeah,
Oh, that's crazy.
like it lost Roost, which
Yeah.
is big. It's not as big as you'd think. Like it's obviously annoying, but because of how offensive the meta is anyway, Scizor is just going to be running SD or Bandit sets like almost always.
Sure, I can buy that. Okay.
Yeah, and obviously I'm biased. Scizor is like one of my favorite Pokemon in
Oh,
draft, and just in general.
also a big
I'm a
Scizor fan.
massive Scizor fan.
I'm
Yeah.
also a big Scizor fan. Don't worry.
I think Screamtail at 6 was like the right place to get it this time. It's a good budget. It's good. Not even budget fairy. It's just a good fairy in general with Rocks, Wish, and Toadscruel in 7th is okay. It's fine.
It's like
I think
the main spinner.
was really
It's like
good.
the main sitter. It's
Yeah.
fine.
Yeah, Uxie was really good at 10th.
Yes.
With Memento and Rocks and stuff.
UC is like one of the best bulky pivots for offense teams, and I don't think it's really close.
Absolutely, yeah. Yeah, and then like Goodra Arcanine, those are kind of like little filler mons that can come whenever they need to.
Yeah.
The speed is good. 20 to Gengar to Urshifu. Toadscruel, I suppose, but
you're not running.
That's not going to speed.
You're not really running speed on that.
Nah. But I love the priority on this team as well. Bullet Punch.
Yes.
Quick Attack.
Yes.
Extreme Speed on Arcanine. Bullet Punch Urshifu. Really good.
Yeah. I just think like Urshifu Torn T is already one of like, I mean, we rarely saw it together last gen because those were always mons that people started teams with.
I mean, yeah, those are always.
But those two together is obviously crazy, and I think you can put most anything along with it, and it'll always do well. I think this team just has like, there isn't a ton of widespread utility, if that makes sense. Like all of them, like it's not like there's a ton of rockers or a ton of removal or whatever, but like the pieces that Sapphire does have of all of those are like good enough that I think that Saf can justify bringing them every time they need to, and probably just like win off of that. Like basically what I'm trying to say is the utility mons are good enough that like the lack of variety isn't an issue.
Yeah, I can agree with that. I do think this is a very Sapphire team as well. Like I've just going off of her previous teams I've seen before, she loves her Volturn. Like this is first 4 picks are like Volturn.
I mean that's draft league players.
Yeah. Gengar as well is one of her favorites. So I think this is like a team should definitely be comfortable with and do well. Definitely. I expect her to do very well this season anyway.
Yep. I like this team too. Alright. So without further ado, we shall get to our number 1 pick, which is Golden Cyber, coach of the Moss Deep Meteor Mashes. Golden Cyber's team consists of Great Tusk, Spectrier, Hydreigon, Azumarill, Thundurus, Scizor, Uxie, Overqwil, Hisuian Arcanine, Hisuian Lilligant, and Dunsparce, with the Terra users being Azumarill and Thundurus. I just realized that the top 2 teams are both Scizor Uxie teams, which is kind of funny.
The Scizor supremacy.
Alright, like obviously Spectrier with a fighting type, that's nothing new. That's like pretty standard from what we've seen previous. Obviously Spectrier got better this gen, which is something. Great Tusk with just like, it's weird to think of it this way, but I kind of see it as like another Buzzwole, even though like Slitherwing is actually that. Yeah. It's just like good physical bulk, but like with obviously.
Well.
Yeah, like I like the Great Tusk thing. Hydra again, I'm not big, but like I think Azumarill is obvious. I'm good. I'm big on Azumarill. I'm not sure how big I am with Terra Azumarill. I think like Scizor maybe would have been better, and obviously Terra Thundurus is one of the biggest threats in the game. And then everything else is just like the utility that an offense team like this needs, right? Like we just talked about Uxie being the best offensive pivot or the best bulky pivot for offense teams. Overqwil provides spike support. Hisuian Arcanine just another like fine hazard setter that has its other utility where it needs it.
Yeah,
And
plus
then
it could just like rockhead head smash shit.
yeah, that too.
Just
And then like well, Hisui and Lilligant and Dunsparce can like come when you don't want like the Lilligant can come when you don't want to like run removal on Great Tusk or Scizor. Dunsparce is like fine if you just need another ghost check. Yeah, I'm like okay on this team, but I want to hear your thoughts because this is the team you ranked at number one.
So I'm gonna gas this team up a little bit because this is a me team. This is like this is SlickPanther material right here. So he's got Great Tusk Spectre, I think, as a wheel. This was a wheel pick, by the way. So he got Wheel Spectre, which I think was crazy. I think Spectre is top 3 Pokemon this generation, like no cap. I think the thing is extremely good. Great Tusk was a great pick as well. Rock, Spin, Knockoff. It's very strong, as you said. It's like, ground fighting is absurd as offensive duo. I still like Hydreigon a lot. Just like with Life Orb, Draco is still gonna hurt, dude. Like fairies do not exist this gen. Good fairies don't exist anyway. Terra Azu and Terra Thundurus. I mean, I've given my opinion on Terra Thundurus. I'd like that a lot as an option. Terra Azu, I think it's fine. Like I understand the appeal of it because you can obviously Terra it into whatever type you need to in order to get your belly drum off, like safer, which I do understand it. I think I agree with you. I would prefer it on Scizor, but I also won't take points off for putting on Azu because I think Azu is a good Terra user as well. Scizor, as I said, one of the best seals one of the best seal types this generation with its priority, and it's just like pure like the new toys I got. Uxie Overquill, so like 2 really really good support roles to fill out his top 6. Arcanine can come whenever it wants as well. As I said, it's a big threat with Head Smash. Lilligant, I think, is a really slept on pick. As I said, it's really strong with Hustle and the Victory Dance that it has. Overall, I just think his top 6 is incredible. I think those top 6 can come nearly every week and win, and just put in massive work.
I can definitely agree with that. Like if this
and
top,
like
if this
how
top
you
6
were,
was
like how you were, like how you were with the Showbiz team and like the Mons themselves. There's like this is a team I would use and like have so much fun with, and just like put in massive work with the opportunities and like the potential it has to put in over time. Like Memento Uxie with like set up Thunder, set up Spectre, set up Azu, set up Scizor, dude. Oh, it's so good. It's so good, dude. I think
awesome.
Yeah, I love this team.
Yeah, this team is very good. This team is very. It's just I personally just like other teams more, but I can acknowledge, that's the word I'm looking for. I can acknowledge this team is objectively good. But yeah, with that concludes our Quick Feet Season 4 Power Rankings. Thank you for watching. Again, all DMs, please, or all complaints rather, please DM them to Has number 0203. He will very much appreciate it. I promise you that.
If you don't like my opinions on your team, my agent will talk to you about it.
Yeah, true. That is very true. Has is the one that actually has all of our opinions and told us to do them. Anyways, That's gonna do it for us. Slick, do you have any closing remarks before we head out?
No, I think that's it. Best of luck to everyone this season.
Absolutely. All the top coaches prove us right. All the coaches at the bottom, please prove us wrong. And thanks for watching, and we'll see you in the next DGBA upload.